The following program is rated contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Art. A to the RT. So many niggas want beef, go to Arby's. Not too many rappers in this game that can stop me feeling cocky. Cause my flow hella stocky. Yeah, and I does this shit. Flow sick, something like when your two cousins kiss. Ill. And y'all niggas know who run this shit. They out of breath. Tell the coach I need 100 bricks. Let me cook them in the oven quick. Take them out when these percussions kick. Yeah, and it was never really a discussion, kids. Trade you to another team like the Russians did. Whoa, what the bitches that be sucking dick? Hit me up, you know I love that shit. Yeah, and it's all gold when I touch that bitch. Pass it to me, watch me clutch that shit. Swish, swish.
The following program is...
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Straight Talk No Chase live. We are here in the building with myself, Trip Simpson, in the building, along with Cohen.
I'm trying to get it in the bag.
Cosby Digital, and my man Chaz joining us live from California. Gentlemen, what's going on today? We're going to start with you, Chaz. What you got?
I really was just surfing through everything and kind of wanted to bring up some things we can touch back on. I want to get some feedback first. I just want to bring up the topic, but mostly I've been seeing a lot of, I remember last time I was on here, we were talking about the whole Kanye thing, and we were, talking about, the both sides of the coin, and just, everybody just putting their differences or their agreeances up and, leaving it for the people to decide, who they want to side with, or who they agree with and who they disagree with. But I haven't been seeing much about the Lamar Jackson as far as, our community, as far as, I try to put our community first. And like you said, Trip, earlier, we got to take care of our community first, clean our house first before we go pointing at the invisible white man. So I was thinking about like how many posts that came out when the Kanye thing was going on, how many posts came out when the Kyrie thing went on, and, just I'm seeing no reaction about the Lamar Jackson, and it may be because a lot of people don't understand maybe what's really going on and what may be the real root. And you can call us conspiracy theorists, but I have a lot of reason to believe why people are not speaking about everything. But I want to go into that a little bit. I can wait to go into that a little bit, because I wanted to see what everybody else thought just about, have you been seeing any posts going on about Lamar, like, especially from our women, like our black women, have you been seeing anything, about like, hey, leave him alone? Like how they were, defending Will Smith for smacking Chris Rock. Like I've seen more posts about that than this man is about to make the most money maybe anybody has ever made, a black quarterback, or anybody in the NFL in history. So by this being such a big amount of money that he's about to receive, and I'm just not seeing the same conversation going back and forth.
For sure. Yeah. We definitely going to get into that. We got a couple topics we want to talk about tonight. Definitely want you to weigh in on all of them. They're all, pretty interesting topics. The Lamar Jackson was going to be pretty much at the height of the conversation, because that's probably the deepest one we'll get into. But like I said, we'll get to that. Real quick, Cosby Digital, what you got going on this week?
Man, got a lot going on this week. Shout out to everybody who popped out to Restaurant 55 this weekend for Karaoke Live. Big success. Shout out to Raheem Devon. He tore the house down. Shout out to all the singers, that came through. It was a big production. April 15th is going to be the next one. We got the usual stuff. Bistro 64, karaoke, soul karaoke at, where I'm at, Harlot. And then, we got the Mexico situation going on. I'm trying to get ready for that. So anybody, look, I know it's last minute for y'all, right? It's going to be fine in Mexico. But for y'all, if anybody wants to travel down with us, we got a day party this Sunday at Buta Cenote Club.
Yes, sir.
Click the link in any of our bios. It'll be there. We are not just local. We are international. Windy Bird.
Yes, sir. Like I said, Trip Simpson in the building.
The first of his name, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms and Protector of the Realm.
Yes, sir. And we're going to do some barbecuing today. But real quick, let's take care of business.
You got some new sounds on the board, eh?
You know we got to take care of business. Don't act like you don't know me.
I know you're going to look after family.
What family you talking about, Ice?
Fuck, I look invisible, nigga.
That's right. We are not invisible. So do me a favor. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tap that notification bell, and select all. If you are watching on Facebook, hit the like button, hit the share button, so you can help this broadcast soar into the algorithm. Now, first topic of the night. Tony Lewis has been freed. I think, what has it been, 29 years?
29 years.
29 years. Former drug kingpin Tony Lewis has been freed. And first off, I'd like to say, shout out to Tony Lewis Jr. Shout out to Tony Lewis Jr. I would like to give a quick disclaimer. Although I have my criticism for the community, I would like to say I respect the grind this man had, how he wouldn't stop to get freedom for his father, and I have no problem with that. I have no problem with this man helping to get his father free. He did 29 years. That's a long time. He's done a lot. He's done a lot of good for the community, I'd say. And I think that he can get out, and I think he can preach to the younger guys and try to teach them a better way to go. However, my criticism in the situation is not for Tony Lewis Jr., because if it was my father, I'd be doing the same thing. My criticism, though, is for the community. I feel like we're quick to say the white man put drugs in the community, and he's responsible for crack and all this and all that. But at the same time, we got guys like Big Meech Alpha, all these guys who were pioneers of the crack movement, who we adore, who we scream free these people. When in actuality, you can pretty much give them credit for the demise of the community. Cosby, what say you?
That was a good segue. A good alley-oop. You left it right at the rim, right?
I mean, we got to get it started early.
I like how you did that. I think this is a very complicated situation, right? Because in one hand, everybody makes personal choices, right? For their family,
facts,
for their friends, for their community. And certain choices can lead you to certain outcomes. So if you choose to sell drugs and you end up incarcerated, that's a choice that you make, right? And I think personal responsibility plays a major role in a lot of the things that we talk about, right? And I think sometimes I get a bad rep where I think people don't need to have personal responsibility. I grew up in the era where a lot of my friends were selling drugs, people in the streets doing street stuff, people in my family, whatever, right? I chose to do something different. But I also recognized how easy it would have been, or how attractive it would have been to fall into those situations just because the economics of the situation. There's no secret why young black men grew up idolizing drug dealers in our community because those are some of the only men they were being able to be economically prosperous in our community, right? They were the only ones that could have cars, have the girls, have clothes, while the rest of the people, for the most part, in economically depressed communities were struggling. Washington, D.C. at that time was no different. So while I do understand the personal responsibility part that goes with it, I do also understand it's not the invisible white man thing, but it's what systems are set up to entrap and ensnare people. If it's a wide net set up, people are going to get caught up in that net. And it's important to highlight how the drugs got in our community, because guess what? We didn't have no boats. We didn't have no planes. We didn't have the capacity to flood our streets in a large scale manner that drugs were flooded in the streets in the era of Tony Lewis, the late 1970s, early 1980s of Washington, D.C. And, you know, all of the subsequent information that's came out, like Snowfall is one of my favorite shows, right?
Mine too.
So the drug epidemic in America could not have reached the heights that it reached without the U.S. government. And the way they dealt with African Americans when they put drugs in community is not the way they deal with other races, because there's a drug epidemic in America right now that was started by Pfizer, by the big drug companies. Like, people are doing bad because of oxycodone. Like, these big drug manufacturers have been sued to the tunes of billions of dollars and having to admit in court that they funded an opioid epidemic in the United States. But, you know, they receive a slap on the wrist. Your pharmacist doesn't get in trouble. CVS gets sued, but nobody goes to jail, even though there's an opioid crisis in America that's killed thousands of people. And I would say rivals the height of the crack epidemic in the US, but it's treated differently because it's not us participating in its crimes. There's no tough on crime laws. There's no 3-strike laws. There's no mandatory minimum. While I think people should have to atone for the crimes that they commit, it's no way someone should be doing life in prison for a non-violent drug offense. When these pharmaceutical companies, these executives, they get a slap on the wrist, pay a fine, and do business as usual. Drugs are drugs. Addiction is addiction. And I think everyone should be treated equally as addicts, and I think everyone should be punished equally as distributors or conspirators in these acts.
Okay, Chaz, what you got?
I'm kind of just listening. I really don't have a lot to say because I don't like to comment on things that a lot of things that I'm not really versed in, did my homework and research on. But like you said, we all have a choice. You chose to do something. Cohen say, he chose to do something different. I believe that choice is built up in the family, in the household. But when the household is ran by dollar signs and bills are getting paid from those illegal activities, people kind of turn their head, and it becomes the narrative changes for the black family.
Okay. I mean, and that's fair. I mean, I think both of you guys brought up great points. I mean, it's just, in my opinion, it doesn't really make us look good, like, as far as on the outside looking in. When other groups look into our situation and see us praising and begging for some of our worst offenders in our community, and this is not a personal thing against Tony Lewis. I'm just saying in general, right? When people have committed the worst crimes against their own community, it's just shocking to me how we long for these people to get out, when in actuality, that's the only finger that you could physically point at someone for the drug game. Like, you can say the white man did it all day. Which white man? Nobody put a gun to these niggas' heads and said, yo, you gotta serve crack to everybody. It was an opportunistic move. It was definitely an opportunistic move. So while I feel for Tony Lewis Jr., if that was my dad, I'd be doing the same thing, right? But in the grand scheme of things, as far as the community goes, I don't think that it's a community issue because you lay your bed, you got to sleep in it. You know what I mean? You're fully aware of the laws of the U.S. And to Cosby's point, where he said, you know, when it comes to black people, he feels like the government punishes us harder. The government started the RICO Act for the Italian mafia. That's how they took all of them down.
So Italians weren't considered white at that time. So
Italians were considered white in the 60s and 70s.
No, they were.
Yes,
not.
they were.
No,
they were. Come on, bro.
They were not.
Are you serious?
And so you ever watch a few like the gangster movies, right? And how the Irish, Italian, and actual white people actually dealt with each other. Let's say Meyer Lansky. Let's say
Meyer Lansky was Jewish.
No, I'm saying in terms of like I'm about to like in Chicago, right? How the breakdown of the gangs were in Chicago. You got your Jews on one side, your Irish on one side, Italians on one side, and blacks on one side, right? What do these people all have in common?
Stereotype.
Nah, there are ethnic groups that were considered outside of white at that time.
At one point Italians were, but not in the 60s. They got their white card in the late 40s.
If you go into a bank and they went for a loan coin, they're gonna get that loan.
Not in the 60s. It was still Wap Guinea. It was so I give you.
It's still Wap Guinea today.
But I'm saying from a.
It's still Wap Guinea today.
I'm gonna tell you when they were actually accepted. When the U.S. decided when they started to do unions, how they started to break down award contracts, and because it's the thing, the government has the power to sanction crime or bring criminals into the U.S. government to stop crime. That's why. If they decided back in the day, instead of using the same resources to put drugs in the community to bring jobs into the community, people would have got jobs instead of selling crack. But that's what was put into the community. Just like when they decided, how do we rein in crime of all of these foreign-born entities or immigrant crime, we got to start giving them jobs. So they started letting them in the police department, fire department, plumbers unions, all of these major unions. Like New York City is a very good case study for how to New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, how all of these unions started getting taken over by Italian, Irish, these immigrant classes, because they had to start bringing these people into society so they stop committing crime.
So here's why I disagree. If you look at who was one of the people who speared the RICO Act, you got to look at Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani was the lead U.S. Attorney who prosecuted the Italians, and he was Italian.
But that's way down the line, though.
No, it's not. It's the exact period that I'm talking about. The late 60s, early 70s, when all these RICO charges started coming down on these groups. At that point, Italians were considered white.
Yeah.
And they called themselves white, and they called black people niggas. And it was widely agreed upon that Jewish people, Irish people, and Italian people were white, and that black people were niggas.
I agree that happened, but I disagree with the timeline. I think from what they wanted to assimilate to versus what white culture led them into, I think it was a little later on, like around the death of when was Kennedy assassinated?
68,
68,
64,
something like that.
Yeah, 68.
So that's
64, I think.
I think
X was killed in 65.
I think within like around his administration, where I think they were officially cemented. As white in America.
Right, but the RICO Act came after that.
No, I'm not disagreeing with that. He really could have prosecuted his own people. I'm saying that just from a perspective of how did the U.S. government deal with criminals that they associated as white. Now you got to prosecute the top people. You got to take the bosses down. But there were so many other layers to organized crime that they just kind of folded into policy and government. Because then those people, the generation of those people started getting into politics like a Rudy Giuliani. He just went to the opposite side. But you had a lot of other politicians, mayors, council people who are of immigrant descent. They started looking out for their people's like, how do we get our people from committing crimes? Because don't get it twisted. Every immigrant group or oppressed group that has ever came to America has participated in crime. All of them.
But can you really call an immigrant group oppressed? I mean, you came from an oppressed country and they pretty much gave all what you would consider white immigrants. They gave them everything.
Yeah.
Well, things are all relative. So if you compare it to black people, no, they weren't as oppressed as black people.
But that goes to my original point.
If you compared
it to black
white people,
you compared it to black people though. That's why. You know what I mean? I used them as an example.
But that was just in response to what you just said. So if you get to a place, right, you be like, well, I ain't bad as them, but I don't got it like y'all got it. You still feel oppressed. You know what I'm saying? If they got signs that say no niggas and no Jews or no Irish, you're pretty much in the same boat as that person for a time. They didn't stay in that same boat, but for about a decade, we was all in ghettos. We was all, considered underclass particularly in American society.
Right, but I mean, but if we're gonna talk about the different groups in crime, I mean, first of all, I have to give kudos to the Italians. They took their crime money and they turned it into billion-dollar industries at this point. Every crane up in DC has an Italian last name,
but they were allowed to.
Okay, so back to my point.
How are you thinking they're allowing?
Why were they allowed to? Why were they allowed to?
Because they were assimilating to white culture.
Okay, so that's my point. So,
I'd never argued that. We were just arguing the timeline.
Okay, well, I mean the timeline, 1910s, 1920s,
and
early 30s,
and I'm saying,
but pretty much after World War II, there was none of that. Because essentially they bought European immigrants into America to
bolster their population.
To bolster the white population.
Yeah.
So I mean, ultimately, my only point is that these laws weren't just specifically made for black folks. They were locking up white. They started doing it with the Italians.
But when have those laws ever been applied to any white people?
I just used
technically they weren't considered like La Costa Nostra. They don't identify as white people.
That's not true.
Sicilian people don't identify as white.
Yes, they do.
Since when?
They've been
when it benefits them.
If you the brown, a little darker brown, olive color Sicilian. I know people Sicilian origin that I've talked to. They don't identify as white.
I mean, look, I'm going to just put it to you like you may find one or two that are woke.
They don't identify as white.
But for the most part, Italians identify as white, bro. It's not even a competition.
But the thing about America, it doesn't even matter what you internally identify as, what America identifies you with anyway.
Exactly.
So we can argue that all day, but when America decided, we need more white people, y'all white now.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all at the end of the day. That's what really matters. But in terms of just like the juxtaposition between like
hold on. Say that again.
Juxtaposition. How they deal with opioids, right? Or how they deal with meth, how they deal with things that generally are not in the black community, where there's like, we need help, we need therapy, we need all of these things they need. There's no 3 strikes laws, there's no tough on crime, there's no super predator, there's none of these harsh crimes, because at the end of the day, black people are seen as a labor force when it comes to the prison industrial complex. Like, they move us around for census data. So to get these little towns funded, they move us around for private prisons to be able to invest in, for people to invest on the stock market in private prisons. So we got to recognize we're a commodity, right? And I think that's one of the most important things out of this whole conversation black people need to understand. Stay out the way, because they see you as food. You're a commodity. They see they can lock you up to make you work. They can lock you up to get funding and use you to power the economy.
But you said something interesting though. You said that you said that it's the way fuck, I can't remember what you said, but
What was it in relation to?
so basically how blacks are treated and how our crimes are punished harder, right?
Yes.
How we're seen more. I could also make the argument that it's partially our fault, because if you look at how we portray our own selves in the media, the roles we take, and the music that we choose to put out there, the image that we choose to participate in that represents us, it's kind of like we're asking for it. Like even if you look up to the drill music that's out right now, we're asking for it. Like, of course, if you don't have a large conglomerate of white folks who use or deal meth, glorifying it in music, television, in every aspect of life, you don't have that being glorified.
What was one of the most popular
with
television shows of the 2000s where
Breaking
a white
Bad.
man, it was glorified in Breaking Bad.
But
All the
Breaking
white
Bad
people
doesn't
love-
hold Breaking Bad doesn't hold a candle to gangster rap.
I mean, but America has always made money off black trauma, though.
Yeah, but that's black people's fault because we choose to do it. We choose to participate. We have to take accountability for how we're portrayed, bro.
I agree that, like, I'm one of the people that was very saddened to see hip hop take a turn where I even remember in a time, just me being young, where black music was still balanced, right? You got R&B,
For sure.
You got hip hop, you got your conscious rappers. Like, I grew up listening to Nas and Poor Righteous Teachers and like I love conscious rap, but I remember a shift in the late 90s.
It was with NWA.
Yeah, so I've lived the shift. So unfortunately, we sold out for the bag in that extent, and we did not recognize the forces that were working against us. They recognized how powerful hip hop was. Hip hop was going global because they recognized them white executives, them white people was coming home, and them kids was listening to NWA and they Walkmans. They was listening to Public Enemy.
Can we call them white? The executives, because I mean,
Jewish. We say Jewish. We say white, Jewish.
Because by what you were saying earlier, like, are they white now or they not white?
By that point, they was white.
So, but all I'm saying is, man,
because let's don't get it twisted. Real white supremacists still don't like Jews, Irish. They still don't like none of them. In 2023, when they had a chance to show their hand, they were yelling, "Jews will not replace us. Blood on soil." Soros back. The Jewish dog whistles are still they're still out there on a regular basis. So the real hardcore white supremacists, they still don't like Jewish people.
I got a better question for you. If you have your non-Jewish white folks, complaining about things that they see Jewish Americans doing, right? And we can all agree, and this is not, I'm not putting this on all Jewish people at all.
Yeah.
But if we can see that that particular ethnic group pretty much owns and funds our image to our demise, are we really arguing with white supremacy?
Yes.
Well, yes, because they've taken the role. They've taken a similar role.
But the quote unquote white supremacists are arguing with them too.
I mean, so the identity of white has different small little factions, but when it comes down to it, what do they identify as? Like you got your Trump and
like
DeSantis, but at the end of the day, crackers is a cracker.
Oh, by the way,
and Chris Rock said it. He said, who y'all mad at? He said of each other, of us. He said, who y'all storming the Capitol for? He said, because us, we fucking up shit. So, you know, they
have their own infighting, backbiting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, so that's all I'm saying. I mean, honestly, me personally, I think that I think at this point, black folks need to clean house in our own community, because fighting the invisible white man is pointless. Because you can't put your finger on it, and at this point, they don't even want to touch the shit. But
I'll push back on this invisible white man term you kind of throw. I've been seeing that thrown out in conservative circles for a few years now, and it's gaining traction. Right, invisible white man. I know exactly the systems,
Who it is.
the people.
Kanye put them out there.
But they're not considered white.
The situation. So hold on, you can't have it both ways.
I'm just asking questions.
No. Because if you say that now, you're arguing against your own point that you tried to make earlier, that they all been assimilated at a certain point, right? So you can't have it both ways.
Well, what I'm doing is trying to make you not have it both ways, but by default, I'm doing it to myself as well.
So you can't have it both ways. So at this point, we do have to understand that the systems that we're operating in are always set up to exploit us, right? And we have to find ways around to not get exploited, or get exploited at least as possible, save your capital and remove yourself from that system and build up something healthier. Right?
So would you agree a good way of doing that is to clean house?
I don't know what clean house means to you, so I wouldn't say I would agree with that.
I'll give you an example. During the Haitian Revolution, right? The first thing that the Haitians did, Denmark Vesey, well, not Denmark Vesey, but I can't remember the dude's name.
Jocelyn.
Yeah, Jocelyn, whatever. One of the first thing they did was killed all the traders. And most of them were Creole, but they killed all the traders first. They got all the traders up out of their shit, and that's when they got busy. But see, right now, we're operating in a community that's about probably 50% trader and 50% true to the game.
So I think the first step, and I always say this, is we got to get control of our own image, right? Because as we're messed up people in terms of where we are, a lot of our morals, values, and things, but we've been through a lot. But the difference between all the other people that have messed up morals, values, because everybody has that component to their societies, ours gets broadcasted through our music, through television, and it gets exploited, and money is made from it. So,
but these are things we are doing.
They always, but this is the thing: if the higher educated, the more wealthy ones don't take control of that, because a record company can always go to the ghetto, get a kid to experience trauma, live the life that all kids live in the ghetto, put it behind a mic, have them tell a story. They can always do that because you can always exploit an economically depressed population. The American government exploits economic depressed populations all over the world.
So how do we explain it when Jay Prince does it?
I'm not speaking of Jay Prince.
Well, I am. What I'm saying is, Jay Prince is known to be a independent record label, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
But he signs guys like Honeycomb Brazy. Who the fuck is that? The Honeycomb Brazy. You never heard of Honeycomb Brazy?
Never heard of him.
Honeycomb Brazy is the demon of Birmingham, right? This is a guy that Jay Prince signed. This nigga, I did a show on him once. Honeycomb Brazy is the worst nigga on the planet Earth.
See, I don't even know who that is.
But this is a nigga that Jay Prince signed. Jay Prince, the same Jay Prince that talks all that black shit and building up your community. He signed a nigga like Honeycomb Brazy.
Him talking about building.
Oh man, listen to any old ghetto boy shit. He comes on. What we got to do is first we got to get all these.
I've never looked at somebody like Jay Prince as like, oh, that's a model of how do we rebuild a community. I've never looked at him like that. So I'm not. I wouldn't co-sign him in that way. Like, oh, right. That's for me to like try to defend him.
I mean, you wouldn't, but a lot of people do.
A lot of people.
Jay Prince. A
lot of people fall for marketing.
Jay Prince is to the rap community, as far as what I'm concerned, in the industry. He's a product of his environment. And just like Master P, he did what he had to do to get out of his environment to try to uplift black people, if it meant robbing the rich and giving to the poor. And that's what I would take. Like after reading the book and stuff like that, it was more of a rags to riches. You know, you can do it too. This is the way I am. But I don't think he was trying to preach to. In the book, to me, he wasn't trying to preach like, "Oh, this is the way you need to get it."
I mean, but he has preached. If you listen to any old ghetto boy shit, any old rap-a-lot shit, Jay Prince will have an interlude or two talking about uplifting the community and this and this and that, and what black people got to do. Jay Prince is definitely known for that. I am a rap-a-lot connoisseur. I spent my teenage years, early 20s, and half my 30s listening to Rap A Lot records.
I would want to ask you a question. Who would be the community leader that you would model after right now? Is there anybody? Because I feel you shit on every single one that's out.
A community leader?
Yeah.
Who?
Anybody.
A celebrity?
No, just anybody.
Yeah, just anybody.
Anyone. That says a lot. That I feel like Trip criticizes.
That's a very broad question. Anyone like who? Are you asking me about a gnome?
Anybody.
Whose ideologies do I think that we could adapt?
Anybody.
To be better people?
Anybody. A leader, someone of any leadership that I don't even have to know him. Who do you feel like is a good leader?
First off, shout out to the great Kevin Samuels. I think that was a great leader.
Okay.
Yeah. Dr. Umar. I mean, not Dr. Umar. Sebi.
Dr. Sebi. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some scamming vibes up in this shit, but
what I'm saying about Dr. Sebi,
health wise,
he wasn't the embodiment of everything, but he told you eating right is a part of living right. Has to be a part of some type of living right if you're going to be eating right, because you got to survive. So at least he was trying to keep us alive.
I could go for that.
Food and nourishment.
I would even say, you know who I like. You know who I like a lot these days, and a lot of people might disagree.
Don't say Jason Whitlock.
Jason Whitlock, for sure. See, you know what?
I almost walked off this set.
I had years and years and years of people telling me Jason Whitlock was a coon, this and this and that, and I always thought he was a coon. Always wrote him off as a coon until I actually started listening to his shit. He's not a coon. Actually,
we need to add that as a topic. I meant to tell you, I saw that quote that he posted.
That shit was spot on though.
I think that's bald niggas. Everybody who's bald, so men focusing on their hair and putting it, but he's bald. I
mean, if you were to watch Jason Whitlock show, he roasts himself all the time. It's not even a big deal. But at the same time, he had a great point. But we don't got to get into that. Let's move.
I watched it. I started listening to his content because you started quoting him so much. I was like, maybe there's a there. Let me not judge it. And then I listened to it. I was like, oh yeah, he's still full of shit. That was a full of shit comment. I would love to break that down.
It's a difference between coming for our people and trying to hold us accountable to, actually being accurate in some of the sports talk that he's bringing up. You have to be actually accurate too. Like, okay, I see what you're saying. Just like Candace Owens, I think a lot of things she says are correct and definitely make a lot of sense. People don't want to hear it, but like I told you before, Trip, she ain't get canceled. Ain't nobody canceled her yet, so she's still thriving. So, but when you come to Jason Whitlock, it comes to a point where it's like, all right, dude, you're talking about you trying to correlate this to talking about sports, and now you coming off full of shit because this is not accurate when you talking about sports. When you put it in the sports field, because sports are ran by we don't control nothing in sports, and that's when I would go back to the Lamar Jackson thing a little bit when we get on that. But we don't own anything in sports. We don't control anything through sports. So everything we do that is just to get a paycheck, we have to jump through hoops, just like what they were making Kyrie do. We're signing a contract.
For sure, but Jason Whitlock was a supporter of Kyrie Irving. What I'm saying is Jason Whitlock, he don't even really talk about sports like that no more. Sports is like a second thing.
I wish he stepped.
It's a second thing with his shit.
Yeah, I just had a problem with the sports talk thing.
Jason Whitlock doesn't even talk sports like that no more. He's basically social commentary at this point. He has a lot of great takes on things that I think they're hard truths that niggas don't want to come to. But at the end of the day, if you come to those truths and you better yourself, the community could be better. Because I mean, right now we're full of shit. Speaking of being full of shit, I want to get on to the next topic because I don't want to spend too much time. I want to get to the Lamar thing, but I want to knock these.
Before you go to the next topic, I had one question for you.
Go ahead.
So going back to the Tony Lewis thing, since that's how this all started off. Do you think that at the end of the day, the Tony Lewis thing was more of a moral victory, and you're not satisfied with that, as far as our community is concerned?
I think that the Tony Lewis thing was a personal victory for Tony Lewis Jr., and I'm happy for him that he got that accomplished. But I don't think it's something that the community should celebrate, because ultimately, like, if we want to look at DC where it is now, and we look at the past, he was a contributor to why things are fucked up now. The drugs he bought in put people's mothers and grandmothers and aunties and fathers on crack.
So I have a question, right?
So I mean, what I'm saying is, I'm happy for Tony Lewis Jr., right? Because his father's out and he worked hard to get him out. I'm happy for him, but I'm not about to throw a parade because Tony Lewis is out. It's not that serious to me.
So I'm gonna tell you why.
My life is gonna go on whether he gets out or not.
I'm gonna tell you why it was important, right? He was one of the poster childs for the First Step Act, right? About judges reevaluating, people's sentences. They were sentenced up very harsh, mandatory minimum sentences. So if he can get out, that would affect a lot of black men in our community that were affected by mandatory minimum sentences. That people that went away as 20-year-olds, like a lot of 18 and 20-year-olds are going to make mistakes, and I believe they should be punished for their mistakes. But I don't think they deserve life in prison.
But hold up,
people have actually killed people.
I don't think you should be sentenced to jail for life for doing a nonviolent crime at all. I don't think you should. However, if you look at some of the things that Tony Lewis was implicated in, it's murder, it's all type of shit he was convicted of, and the only reason that he stayed in jail as long as he did is because he didn't snitch, right? But there's murder. There's a lot of shit that went on with Tony Lewis that would definitely constitute you going to jail for life.
So even in DC, people don't get life in prison for murder. If you look at the people, there's plenty of niggas that caught bodies. You see them home in 18 years and they ain't do no telling, no nothing.
And that's why they're trying to reevaluate that whole the code system and everything. So, now they're trying to update everything.
Yeah, so that even if you pin everything that,
well, if you kill somebody, if you kill a loved one of mine, I hope you rot and I hope you get the fucking chair.
But we're talking about what's the actual laws on the books.
Laws, yeah.
The real laws of the books. People can commit murder and come home.
Yeah, but it depends. If it's first degree murder, probably not.
Yeah, so
second degree murder, manslaughter, shit like that, you'll get out one day.
You're gonna get out. There's plenty of people who caught bodies in that era.
But when you're talking about a whole crime organization where you're doing hits on niggas and all that shit, like.
But I think they also when we talking about like political, right? That was also a political prosecution. That was very big at the time. That's why his name got so big. With the Rayful Edmonds, the Tony Lewis.
Yeah, I mean, Rayful Edmonds read it. So, yeah. I mean.
So it was super big in the news. So they were also made an example of, and that can happen in the community. Like all of the kids, even like you talking about the kids that are committing crimes now, they're about to be made an example of because now it's becoming a political issue. Once crime becomes political, norms and policies are thrown out of the window and people are going to be prosecuted. That's why I feel like that First Step Act, which he benefited from, and then a lot of good black men in our community are gonna benefit from, that should not have been away from their family 30, 40, 50 years for doing something that basically our government has sanctioned and approved to be done.
All right, so with that, we're gonna move on to the next topic. So recently, a 17-year-old boy was killed by U.S. Park Police. And we're going to get into that, and we'll get some commentary on it. I got 2 videos to share on it.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us for News 4 at 6. I'm Mauricio Casillas. We begin with that deadly police shooting and crash in...
I don't know what the fuck he said. Mauricio Casillas.
Northeast DC. Take a look at how it all ended. A car drove into a house after a U.S. Park Police officer inside the vehicle shot the driver. Park Police say the car dragged another officer, and it all came to an end on 36th Street Northeast, just off of DC 295 and Kenilworth Avenue. News 4's Derek Ward explains what we know about how it got there.
The driver of this car died, shot by a U.S. Park Police officer. The car ended up crashing into a corner house in the 300 block of 36th Street in the River Terrace neighborhood of Northeast. The home was occupied at the time, but no one in the home was injured. And now an investigation is underway into that incident.
Police say the incident started here near 34th and Baker Street when U.S. Park Police officers were called to assist MPD officers. They were checking out a car that had been reported as stolen.
Officers on scene attempted to detain the male driver. The driver fled the scene.
Sorry.
Park police officer was trapped in the vehicle, was unable to get out of the car.
Park police say a second officer was dragged for a short distance.
An incident occurred inside the vehicle. A firearm was discharged by the officer.
Both the officers suffered non-life-threatening injuries. The driver who died was identified by family members as 17-year-old Delanio Martin. Those family members showed up at the scene upset over not getting answers to what happened. Police would eventually speak to them, but it didn't quell their anger. Park police and residents say Park police officers are common in this neighborhood just off 295. Nearby River Terrace Park is under their jurisdiction. Police canvassed the block where the incident began. They also say a gun was recovered from the vehicle. In Northeast, Derek Ward, News 4.
All right, let's get to the next one. So there we go. 17-year-old killed by police.
Well, tonight, the teen killed in a struggle with Park police
a little bit more on the guy who was killed.
Identified as 17-year-old Delanio Martin. Police say leading up to that shooting, he was trying to get away from them in a stolen vehicle when an officer got dragged. Well, tonight at 7 News' Megan Clark is learning more about Martin and speaking with the woman who says that was her car that was stolen.
The last time Portia McCollum saw her SUV was Friday, March 11th, parked at Capital One Arena. And the next time she saw her SUV was Saturday, March 18th, here in Northeast D.C. The car was crashed into the side of this home. The driver dead inside. Video capturing the frantic aftermath of a police shooting in Northeast D.C. 17-year-old Delanio Martin identified as the driver. Authorities say U.S. Park police officers were called to help with a stolen car and say when officers tried to detain Martin, he took off, with one officer in the car and a sergeant dragged. Police say at some point the officer fired his weapon and Martin was fatally shot.
And it's unfortunate, that it's going to be another black child that have to be raised without a father.
Community activist Nene Taylor says she knows Martin's mother and says he...
Let me stop right there.
Right.
That's one thing that we got to stop.
Yep.
We got to get these broads off the microphone.
Yep.
Get them off the microphone. Get them off, man. Please. Please. Let's continue.
He was a young father to a 5-month-old baby and known as Debo to close.
The nigga's nickname is Debo. What the fuck are we talking about here, man? What are we talking about?
Friends.
I'm in awe that anyone died over a vehicle.
Portia McCollum says she owned the car and had been searching for it since Friday, March 11th, when it was stolen outside Capital One Arena where she works. McCollum had been getting tips from community members all week as to where it might be. Saturday, she got a call from a friend.
So when I went down there, I saw the car, I saw the sheet on the ground, and I was just like, oh my God, like what's going on? I'm at a loss completely. And I don't know who's responsible at this moment.
Taylor also wants answers.
You got insurance?
For DOJ, outside investigation to be done on this, and release the videotape and give the family closure and answers to what happened to their loved one.
MPD is investigating this incident, and the department confirming to 7 News more information will be released, but did not give an update or timeline as to when we can expect that latest information. Reporting in Northeast D.C., Megan Clark, 7 News.
All right, so here's my thing with this shit, right? Number one, you have a community activist out talking about this situation, and it seems as if they're trying to err on the side of making this kid out to be a victim. Bro, you got stopped by the cops. You chose to speed off with a cop in the car and another cop hanging on, dragging on the car. What do you expect to happen?
So they left out an important detail in this.
What's the detail?
He was asleep.
He was asleep in a stolen car. When they woke him up, he tried to flee the scene in a stolen car.
Why would the cop get in the car when somebody is asleep?
It's a stolen car, so he probably got it in to lock him up.
No, why did you get in the car?
So a cop can't get in the car if it's stolen?
Why would you? So one thing about and this is like some training shit where I feel like it's like Barney Fife's out there working these beats and working these communities, right? Every human being has a fight or flight emotion if you get startled and woken up. That's why when they pull up on people on the highway, they pull over, they're gone to sleep. They pull up on people that sleep in parking lots. You know the first thing they do? They knock on the window and wake the person up before they engage them. Because the same thing can happen to you. Like, you're a first responder, but if you had a long ass night at work and you decide to pull over and take a nap because you feel like you can't make it home, you'll be startled like shit if you wake up and a nigga's in your car with you.
First of all, nobody said it went exactly like that. You're projecting something that we don't know happened.
No, I'm saying I saw another news report is how the officers were able to get in the car with him. He was asleep.
I mean, it was a stolen vehicle, bro. And he is not the owner of the vehicle. So they went in the car probably to detain him. He woke up and starts driving the car.
So we're
I'm pretty sure. So
we're talking about training. Oh shit. We're talking about
34th and Baker is a long ways from where he crashed it. He went 34th and Baker all the way to River Terrace.
So do we know he was the one who stole the car?
It doesn't matter. He was in the car.
He's in the car.
Hold on. Do we know he's the one who stole?
Who gives a fuck?
So me growing up,
and he had a weapon in the car.
Hold on. Me growing up around my way, right? It was a bunch of UUs around my way, and everybody drove the UU at a certain time. Is that true or false? When the UU hit the neighborhood,
of course.
So we don't even know he was the one who stole the car.
Why does that matter?
Now him being in the stolen car, that's a problem.
Why does that matter?
Because people's like, well, he's a car thief, right? His mans could have stole the car, and he was in the car. So that's why you investigate.
He was in the driver's seat.
But listen to what I'm saying. That's why you don't get in the car with somebody that's asleep. No. It's certain.
That's why you don't steal cars and sleep in stolen cars.
It's not yours. It's not yours. It's not yours. That's it.
I find it so funny.
So hold on. So do you believe a stolen car deserves a death sentence?
I gotta say something. I find it so funny.
Yeah.
How people want the police to do their goddamn job. They try to do their fucking job. They try to get your shit back. They put their life on the line trying to get your shit back. This nigga takes the cop on a fucking death ride and he popped him. I would have popped him too.
That's a dumbass cop to get in the car with a sleeping
dumbass
suspect.
nigga. That's a dumbass nigga to take off when the cops is in the car.
He's doing his job, bro.
So
he's
Norman
doing his
Brooks,
job. Whatever he thought.
Norman Brooks, as a first responder, and I know you have this training. What are you trained to do if you come upon an accident or any situation someone's sleeping in the car?
We knock on the window. If they're injured, we get in the car. We put a neck brace on them. We take their vitals. We're all in the car doing what we're supposed to do.
But what happens first before you get in the car?
What do you mean what happens first?
You find out if they're conscious or unconscious, right?
No.
You go in the car, bro.
Don't look around. Don't shake your head. Do you find out if they're conscious or unconscious before you enter the car?
The only way you find out is when you get in the car and you try to wake them up.
No, you knock on the window profusely to see if they wake up before you enter the car. Right or wrong?
Sometimes. It depends on the situation.
If the car ain't on fire and you can tell his fucking neck ain't hanging off his fucking shoulder because they got in a bad accident, if you come upon somebody on the side of the road, what's your procedure to do?
It depends. But if we come up on somebody that's asleep on the side of the road, most time I won't even get out. I whoop whoop, hit the siren.
To wake him up, right?
That's trip.
I'm a firefighter / EMT.
So the same type of training you have to not engage somebody before you find out if they're conscious, unconscious, what's going on with them. You don't get in the car with somebody, because this is the nuance of the story. 2 people got dragged. So he probably jumped in, was trying to wrangle. The other nigga was reaching through the window. That's not how you handle those situations. If you look up any police training manual, any first responder manual, that is not how you come up upon somebody that's sleeping in a car.
First of all, that's not a fact. You don't even know what the training manual said.
I looked it up.
You a goddamn lie. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
All right,
you didn't do that.
I would say everybody Google first responding police or firefighter, EMS. How do you handle?
The bottom line is you want the police to get the bad guys. This was a bad guy in a stolen car with an unregistered weapon. The police did what they had to do. I commend the cops for going the extra mile, trying to get the suspect.
I wouldn't have did.
going the extra mile to save a fucking 2010 Kia truck.
Whatever, dog.
That was her 2000. Like that was her 2000.
If you really think about it, and then if you look at right, what's the actual penalty laws on the books for a stolen car?
Say what?
What's the law like? How much time he would have served?
So first of all,
that doesn't matter.
Here's what we have to look at though. So what are the stolen cars in DC being used to do? What are they being used to do? Stolen cars in DC right now, they're stealing cars and they're using those cars to run up on people and steal more cars, or they're using those cars to shoot up blocks. They ran up in the car, found an unregistered weapon,
or they take him to the
unfortunately, that's that little nigga's fault. See, you can't play stupid games and not expect stupid prizes.
So I fully expected him to go to jail for what he did.
Well, he died for what he did because he sped off with police.
He died for the negligence of the police.
No, he died for the negligence of himself.
So if you look up the definition of negligence,
you could have just took the L and got locked up,
bruh. That's the thing, right? If they would have knocked on the window,
bro.
Hold on. Let me finish. If they would have knocked on the window, even with the Joan out, right? He's trapped. He's cornered, right? He woke up with somebody next to him in the car.
So what?
Cohen,
it's a stolen car.
1980.
That's all the more reason why you don't do that. Because you don't know what the person is in the store. That's all the more reason why you don't do something like that, because you don't know the situation. You don't know the mind state of the potential suspect in the car. You don't know if that's the person who stole it. They don't know shit. That's why you don't get in the car with somebody.
Chaz, go ahead, get your point across.
But you also don't know the mindset of that police officer. And black people in America in 2023, it's cool what you talking about in 1980, but this is 2023. We see black people get killed for less than that every day. So what would in your mind to press on the gas when the car is already in park? You had to take the car out of park consciously and put the car in drive. You were asleep. One thing that you said that was a great point, and you put your own foot in your mouth because you said that he was asleep. So that meant that he had to wake up, see somebody else in the car that wasn't his. What if it was the lady that was it was her car? What if that was the person that was their car? They had all the right to be in that car. But he took it from park all the way through neutral, all the way to drive, to take off and go on a ride
for blocks and blocks and blocks. For blocks and blocks and blocks.
It's no coming back from that.
And then the officer's probably like, yo, stop. Okay, fuck it. Bow. You ain't gonna kill me. I'm going home to my family. I'm gonna smoke yo. If I'm the officer, I would have smoked his ass too.
So you know what?
I would have smoked him too.
So you know what they should have did? Knock on the fucking window and wake him up with the guns out. And if he drove off, he drove off.
Nah, it don't work like that.
And guess what? The officer's life wouldn't have been in danger. That's literally how if you look at how to deal with sleeping suspects, you stand on.
Here we go.
Look. I wish we could have a police officer on here, like, cause I actually spoke to a police officer about this. Right? They stand on the side of the car, shine the flashlight in the car.
Broad day, bro.
Bang on, or just bang on the window with the flashlight. I wish people could see on camera. Here, hand on weapon, bang on the window, wake the person up, because he could be like, oh shit, they got me. Or he could have said, oh shit, I'm about to drive off.
How do we know they didn't do that?
But listen.
How do we know they didn't do that?
Because it was a nigga in the car.
They could have done that. They could have done that. They could have done that, woke him up, then got in the car, and he said, fuck this, I'm running. Come on, bro.
So when have a police ever detained somebody by getting in the car with him? In the
Plenty of
history
times. They do that all the time, dog. They do that all. I'm on scenes like that all the time.
So they get in the passenger seat to detain someone.
Let me tell y'all niggas something, man. Let me tell y'all something.
No. Don't skate over that. They get in the passenger seat to detain someone out of a car. An officer gets in the passenger seat. You've seen that personally.
First of all, there was 2 cops. One cop got drug.
No, don't hit me.
Other cops, so they
don't hit me with the conservative shuffle. You've come up on the scene and seen a cop get into the passenger seat to arrest someone out of a car.
Yes, I have. But you have to also remember there was a cop on the other side of the car trying to arrest him from the other side who got drugged for half a block. So there was one cop on one side, one cop on the other side. One cop got drugged by the car. And the other cop probably just hopped in or whatever. I don't know what he did.
He was some dumbass shit. The reason why it's hard to process is like, why are you in the car with the suspect with the car on?
Stop the car. Police, stop the car. Police, stop the car. All right, you ain't gonna stop the car? Bow.
Why are you in a running car with a suspect?
Because that's what the job entails at times.
No, the fuck it does not.
Yes, it does. Good police do that shit.
To get in a running car with a suspect?
Good police do it.
Good police, yeah.
Dumb police
I wouldn't
do that.
But
I damn sure wouldn't do it.
Police procedure is take the keys out the ignition, drop them on the ground.
I said we need more good cops like that on the road. Willing to hop in a moving car to get my shit back. Give that nigga a motherfucking medal of valor.
He jumped in a car to save a 2012 bullshit Kia truck. Now somebody lost their life.
That was her kid. That was her kid.
That's why, man, I couldn't be no cop, man.
That shit is not worth
because
it.
Niggas are just so ungrateful, man.
No, he's an idiot. I don't look. So
he's an idiot?
He's an idiot.
Wow, bro.
Now he gotta live with killing somebody because he's a fucking idiot.
I wouldn't trip.
He's an idiot.
As far as I'm concerned, that nigga tried to kill me.
Why are you putting your life on the line for a car?
Ask that little nigga that.
No, I'm asking the police who put his life in danger
and he fixed
for property.
And he fixed it.
For property.
And he fixed it.
So that's the thing where we get
lost. Nah, dog. No. Because you want everybody to give. You want the cop on some benefit of the doubt shit, but the nigga don't get the benefit of the doubt. We don't have to assess what he was thinking. No, because he's just a dumb nigga that don't know no better, right? So we just got to look at it like that. Nah, dog. That's a grown ass man with a child who decided to steal a car, have an illegal firearm in it, and race from the cops. And he got what he paid for.
All right. Were you a grown ass man as a junior in high school?
I didn't have no kid.
Were you a grown ass man as junior high school?
No.
Do you believe any junior high school is a grown ass man?
I believe some people put themselves in a position to be grown ass men.
Yeah, I can agree with that, but I personally don't believe any junior high school is a grown ass man. So first of all, let's
your choices, man.
Let's characterize what we dealing with and what we not dealing with, right? 2, as a police officer, you make decisions that can impact you in a good way or a bad way. You're supposed to be trained to make better decisions than the average person walking the street. That's what our tax dollars pay you to be. Pay you to be smarter, pay you to be more patient, pay you to be more well-trained than the average person walking the street.
I don't know where you get this criteria from.
That's literally in your training. Reality, you're paid to do. You're paid to de-escalate.
No, we know that's not reality, do things that the average person it won't do. That's what you're paid to do.
So is de-escalation part of police training?
When de-escalation is possible.
Is de-escalation
sometimes
part of police
niggas
training?
Escalate shit to a point where it can't be de-escalated.
So is someone sleep in a car escalating the situation?
No.
So what they came about, and let's put all the qualifiers.
But when you decide to turn the car on and put it in gear, you've escalated it.
So let's reevaluate, and I'll give you every qualifier. It was a stolen car. They didn't know who the kid was. They didn't know anything about the situation, right? But as a police officer that's trained to de-escalate a situation, I wouldn't think getting in the car while the car was running when someone is asleep is a de-escalation tactic. That to me is only going to escalate the situation. Keeping yourself out of harm's way, I I could see if he had a knife to somebody's throat, he had a gun to a baby's head, he was threatening some other person, right? I can understand drastic times calls for drastic measures. That was not a drastic situation. Find a teenager in a stolen car sleeping. That does not rise to the situation of we got to do what we got to do, dog. Okay. We got to take a life.
But it got drastic after the nigga pulled off and didn't stop the car while he asked him to stop the car. Stop the car. So that's when it turned drastic.
So whose action escalated the situation?
If I'm a cop
first?
Inside of a car where niggas actively fleeing cops, I'm going to put him down.
So who escalated that situation?
The person who stole the car,
or the person who got in the car.
It wasn't his car. He stole it.
So
get out the car, nigga. This ain't yours.
But we still got to deal with cause and effect. They didn't say get out the car. It's not yours.
Cause and effect, nigga. You stole the car. You stole the car. You tried to run from the cops. You got your ass popped. That's it.
You didn't, Cohen. You didn't have to. He didn't have to get killed by the police. He could have got killed by the lady that he stole the car from. You play stupid games. You get fucked up regardless. Like there's no fine line between that.
Judging by the women's reaction, whose car was actually stolen, she's looking like, damn, I'm more upset that the kid is dead than my fucking 2010 Kia truck.
That's not what she said.
She actually said no. She said,
I just want to know who to blame. Who do I blame? That's what she said.
That's what she said.
Do I sue the cops or do I sue the nigga, the dead nigga?
Her car. She was tracking her car since March 11th, bruh. So that means that.
So is that a failure of police? If she can find her car and the police couldn't find her car?
Well, police found her car. Community. Remember, they said she was using the community to get tips. So she cared about finding her car.
She found her car. The police didn't find her car.
No, she found her car after the nigga was already dead.
No, she had been tracking her car. She knew where her car was.
Police found the car. They found an assailant in the car with a weapon. It is what it is, bro.
It's not his.
Tell your dumbass kids to stop doing shit like that.
So this is the thing. It is what it is, I would tell a kid, don't fucking steal cars, right? But I also can criticize people who are supposed to protect and serve, who get paid to protect and serve the community. Even from a sense, their actions could have led to 2 deaths. By him jumping in the car, trying to do whatever he was doing in the car, causing the kid to pull off and crash into a house. It was people in the house.
Well,
and if he crashed into the house and ran over a baby in the house, who's responsible for that?
It would have been on the assailant.
But if the police did not follow their procedure that's on the books of how to deal with a suspect that's asleep in a car and he ultimately killed someone in the house, whose fault would it be?
It would be the assailant's fault.
Even though the police didn't follow procedure.
I mean, he committed several crimes in the process of only being guilty of one for having a stolen car. He committed several crimes in the process.
That's why they can't even sue. They can't even do a civil suit, bro. They won't even be able to do it and hold it up in court.
I mean, we're not judges or lawyers here, but I would say if the police didn't follow procedure, this happens in a lot of cases where police are found liable when they chase people when they're not supposed to chase people, when they shoot at people when they're not supposed to be shooting at people.
Here's the thing.
Hold on, let me finish.
He had the cop in the car while he was running from cops.
Let me finish. There are a lot of documented instances where when police go outside of procedure, what they're trained to do, because when they do that, when they do go rogue, they endanger other people. And that's why they have these laws and procedures on the books. You don't shoot at a moving car. You don't jump in a car that's running. You don't.
So hold on. We don't know if he jumped in the car that was running. We don't know what happened. All we know is they stopped the guy. They got in the car and said, "Yo, blah 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 blah," and he pulled off.
I've actually seen other multiple news reports where they say he got in the car with him
while it was moving.
No, while he was asleep.
Okay,
and he startled him and he woke up and pulled off.
Okay,
so if
he didn't shoot him right away,
So if that's true, that police did not follow procedure.
That's not true. He didn't shoot him right away.
I'm talking about. So you're trying to skip a step.
What step did he skip?
Getting in the car with a sleeping suspect.
If the car is stolen right? Because they
You
knew
can
it
do
was
whatever
stolen.
you want to that car.
The car is stolen. I already have probable cause to do what I got to do.
Yep, to do whatever you want to that car.
After probable cause is set, I can do what I got to do.
Bruh.
Period.
Getting in the car is where look, don't get it twisted. I'm not excusing the kid what he did. I'm not excusing. He shouldn't have stole a car.
Probable cause,
he should have been locked up for that, right? But 2 people could have died. 3 people could have died by the reckless actions of that police officer. Is what I'm saying. Because that was a reckless action.
He died from his own actions. But let's let's move on. Let's move on.
Revisit this, Cohen. Keep update. Have updates about where the case is going. I think it's you have a viable definitely a viable argument.
If it's confirmed that he got in the car while the suspect was still asleep and he like tried to wake him up or snatch the keys out or some dumbass shit like that, he needs to be held liable in some type of way as well.
All right, Chaz, I'm gonna give you the floor. Let's get to this Lamar Jackson topic.
Okay. Well, basically, I called Trip early and just wanted to talk about the Lamar Jackson thing. Just ask, how you guys felt about where things were headed. I would love to hear Cohen's perspective on, what his knowledge is of up until now about what the Lamar Jackson thing is, and then I'll chime in.
So real quick, what I need you to do, give us the backstory.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? For the people, on the broadcast that's watching.
The backstory as far as what, I've been reading up to and, catching up to, and what's
just lay it out. Just lay it out for us in the audience so we can put the conversation in proper context.
The context that I was trying to get into was how the black community is really not coming to the defense of Lamar Jackson, but how Kanye and Kyrie and any other black man that does something that's put into the media then I told him the white media, black people, we don't own any news outlets, anything, so we don't control the narratives most of the time. And usually it's especially my aunt. I had a conversation with my aunt and she was like, this person's broke and this person's this and this person's that. I'm like, where are you getting all this from? And she's like, oh, the news said this and they said Lamar was kind of cocky. I'm like, so where is he being cocky about wanting his money? So I'm thinking that, by him playing, without a contract, he already put his body on the line. Why isn't everybody coming to his defense when they're trying to basically blackball him in a situation where, he doesn't have an agent, all these narratives are being rolled up and, I don't know why he doesn't have an agent, what that has to do with anything. But in this white brand supremacy media, if you don't have an agent, if you don't, funnel the money through a white organization or a white owned company, if no one else is getting a chunk of some of that money, there's a problem. And it always seems like that, especially when you're not giving the media what they want. You're not talking to them. You're not giving them all your business and being transparent with them. Jacoby Brissett, who just got signed for the Redskins, he doesn't have an agent, but that was never brought up, and he's never been held back from getting a contract because he doesn't, he maybe comes out as, he's that good guy in the locker room and everybody likes him. Lamar, in the other situation, since college, I've been following this. They've been dogging him even before the draft and the combine. They were dogging him and saying, oh, he doesn't have an agent. And, we don't see any, just because he hadn't had an agent, that whole thing went down the drain. A lot of things went down the drain for him, as far as probably endorsements, just, notoriety, just the good talk that they usually give these top prospects coming out of college after the combine.
Okay. I'm pretty familiar with the situation, right? I'm a secondary Ravens fan to the Commanders. I've always rooted for them. Ray Lewis and Ed Reed were two of my favorite players back in the day. So I follow the Ravens football, pretty closely as well. The issue with Lamar Jackson is like he's a later round draft pick that excelled. He's won the MVP in the league, right? He's one of the top quarterbacks in pro football. And the Ravens are notoriously a franchise that does not like to pay top dollar for players, right? And if you look at the quarterback market right now, quarterbacks who have been paid, you look at Patrick Mahomes, you look at the Kyler Murrays, you look at the Josh Allens, Joe Burrows. These are his contemporaries, right? Who've gotten paid. And the one outlier is, what's my man from Houston?
Deshaun Jackson. It's Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson. So this
that's what
is an
makes
issue.
it stupid.
This is an NFL-wide issue because so the NFL is a good old boys club, right? The owners, as much as they compete on the field, they all are friends behind the scenes because they're the owners and they're making the money. They all need each other to function. They all need each other to further the league and make money. That's why Dan Snyder was such an outlier, especially when they found out Dan Snyder was withholding money from the other owners and revenue in some of those games. That's why they turned on him very quickly and the team had to be sold because they found out he was skimming. So y'all look into that later. But
Dan Snyder, never mind. I don't want to get into ethnic.
No. So Dan, so all the owners have a revenue share, right? And they have to be honest in like reporting numbers. I know what you were about to go to, but he was skimming. They was like, oh, we know. Yeah, we ain't getting into that. But but only reason I mention that is relevant to this issue because the Browns organization basically bucked the rest of what the owners kind of wanted to set the target or cap for what they want to pay quarterbacks.
I agree there.
And they gave Deshaun Watson an obscene amount of guaranteed money. So once one player gets paid, it resets the market for all other players, right? So Lamar Jackson is the next best quarterback coming up to get paid behind Deshaun Watson.
Would you even say next best? I mean, I would say he's better than Deshaun
The
Watson.
best.
I would say.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying in comparison, that's the next best quarterback coming up to get paid behind that particular contract, so to speak.
Right.
I think he's better, personally.
I think we got to look at this with nuance, though, because while I want Lamar Jackson to get a huge contract, I also have to look at where the teams are coming from, too, because if I'm Baltimore, I'm like, well, just because Cleveland is retarded doesn't mean I have to be retarded.
But when you break it down, even if you
Cleveland fucks around, gives this nigga $230 million, right? Just because Cleveland does that, why do I have to do it?
But hold on, even if you look at other contemporary quarterbacks in that market, if you look at the Josh Allens, if you look at Kyler Murray, if you look at where people were paid just now, he's won an MVP of the league.
Yes.
He needs his pay market needs to be higher than them.
For sure.
Because those guys have not won anything, haven't proven anything.
Do you think the one, because he got offered 130 for 3 years, right?
And and that's even up in the air if that was even true or not. Because he disputed that.
Okay, so that wasn't true.
Yeah, he disputed with Adam.
Because I was going to say 130 for 3 years is damn good.
But the thing about it is, and I feel in football is a very violent sport, right?
It is.
You're one hit away from it being all over. But what these owners are, they're collecting literally almost close to $1 million per game off of your labor. Like, think about we go to FedEx Field. Yeah, we go to FedEx.
You got 80,000 people paying an average of $150 just for tickets.
Yeah, I'm just minusing the overhead, just for round figures, for the audience to understand. So, because and they're smart in PR, they play the numbers to the average fan. They're like, damn, this nigga turned down all this money. He's ungrateful. He's this, he's that. Not
That's
understanding what the actual owners make from these games, right? And you got to realize Lamar Jackson is the type of player, he's box office. He's packing the stadiums. Not only in your stadium, but on the road. So as a whole, all of these owners are benefiting when Lamar Jackson comes to town. Like, if it ain't Lamar Jackson, who's the backer? Jacoby Brissett. You're not buying a ticket to see Jacoby Brissett, but you're buying a ticket to see Lamar Jackson. So not only the Ravens organization, every 32 teams.
Yeah.
All 32 owners are benefiting from Lamar Jackson. So they actually have a financial interest that they're making from him, but then they're also looking like, I don't want to give this nigga all this money. So that's the larger thing at play is because he doesn't have an agent, because he's not feeding the system.
He does have an agent. His mom.
His mom.
His mom.
Well, an agent.
That's not good enough.
A official agent that is in this particular system, like just like this happens in the criminal justice system. Why you don't want to get a public defender, you get a real lawyer that's actually friends with the judge, the prosecutor. It's a whole system. So it ain't just because they. Oh, my bad, brother. I didn't hear you talking.
Oh, no. I was just saying she's not paying, like you said, she's not paying legal fees, licensing fees to be an agent every year to represent players.
Just like
so she's not in the system.
Yeah, just like criminal justice system, you don't want to go in a public defender because they're not connected to that system. They're not friends with the judges. They didn't go to law school with the person. They're not within that system. People don't realize you're not only paying for a good lawyer, you're paying for that access that your lawyer has to everybody else involved in your case.
Can I ask you guys a question though? So let's look at this outside of ourselves, right?
Yeah.
If you were in the position of the league and the agents and all that shit, like, if this has been your hustle scheme for all these years, would you let that shit fly?
No, I wouldn't. They're playing a game of chicken.
And that's where we're going.
They're playing a game of chicken right now.
Because, I mean, to be honest with you, I think that's something that's some territory where us as black folks really need to explore. Exclusivity. We're used to just letting anybody and everybody come in and do their thing, and we happy-go-lucky. But like, when you fucking with billions of dollars, dog, it's a process, and they're not just gonna let you come in the door, doing your own thing, and bust down the process. Now, I'm not saying that I'm siding with them, but I understand because it took them 90 years to build this system to what it is today.
And Trip asked me before the show, I was trying to find the clip of Stephen A kind of exploiting it, kind of stepping on it for a second. He wasn't going to say too much because when he says too much, and you know his voice is very, very, very broad. He has the biggest show on ESPN, the morning show. The ratings are off the charts. So when he says, "Hey, if Lamar does this without an agent, how many other players do you think that can get the biggest contract and he's getting guaranteed money by himself? How many people do you think right then and there would say, hey, why do I need an agent anymore? Lamar did it. Y'all gave it to Lamar without an agent.
Yeah.
So he made a good point, but he wasn't going to step on it too much because he knew that he was treading on those same people pay his salary. They pay for they're in the marketing companies. They're in these meetings that they're all friends. Everybody is friends.
That's a fact. And that's the elephant in the room, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you're the cultural leader or the person that takes the unbeaten path, like, you're gonna catch the hell. As much as I talk shit about Kanye, I always appreciated that he took the road less traveled. Like, he made his own path.
He did.
That was never my criticism of him. And he received flack for it until he became successful, and then he was the guy. Like,
now they gotta be like, now can we offer you $1 billion?
Yeah, like
sell our shoes again.
Like that's like the American story. Like, if you live long enough, you're the hero and the villain. That's your Martin Luther Kings, your Malcolm X's, your anybody who's ever done anything great. You have to break down or break through walls, systems, and norms to get to the other side. So Lamar Jackson is just an example of, I'm the pioneering nigga. Like, I'm going to try to sign one of the richest contracts in the history of sports without saying I need this system in place. Even though it makes sense to have an agent, because one of the things I resonate with, it's hard to deal with people that you rock with, letting them criticize you, because in a negotiation, criticism has to happen on both sides. So your agent is there to take the criticism from the ownership, filter it, pass it back to you. You have your criticism filtered through your agent back to the ownership, but you're able to keep a great relationship because there's no direct criticism. But if you ain't got no real agent and your mama's in the room, your mama has an emotional connection to you, unlike how an agent would have an emotional connection to you. So every little word stings, like, oh, nigga, you get hurt a lot. That shit stings. Or, we might not like your braids, nigga. that shit stings. Like I don't like
it
how you
asks
handle
you- it
fans
asks
on
you to be
Twitter.
real.
It stings. They might have character issues with him. And
Listen,
say to
all
an
the agent
and
does-
filter back to him is different between saying it directly to him. So in terms of money wise, I understand why he doesn't want to have an agent, but having someone represent you in a negotiation where you want to keep amicable terms with the other person, or you want to keep a good relationship, agents matter. It's a reason why these systems exist.
I think if he had an agent,
agents matters for people that are not cool with being upfront. Agents just filter the bullshit. So if you want to get real funky with it, just be real. You don't need no fucking agent. I always tell these kids that come out here to be that be in Hollywood, that want to come out here to LA, and they're like, oh, I need a manager. No, you fucking don't. You don't need a manager. You need to get a good lawyer, and you need to learn how to read your own fucking paperwork. That's it. And what that agent does, they will bring somebody in that you don't even know. I remember we took our first publishing deal, and everybody wanted that fucking Dr. Dre publishing.
hold on, real quick.
That's all they wanted.
You gotta put this in context, because you gotta let people know exactly what you do. Because I know what you do, but like the people don't.
Yeah. I'm a manager for producers, writers, musicians. When we took our first publishing deal, I was young. It was 2015. I wasn't that fucking young. I've been in the game for we started out with Wale. We broke Wale out of DC in 2008. When we broke him out in 2008, by 2015, I know enough about the motherfucking game that I could have did the contract. But because of what my clients wanted, and because of what the publishers brought in, the lawyer brought in, oh man, you never did a contract before of this magnitude. We might need to bring somebody in. They brought this motherfucker in to get $10,000 for us to pay him $10,000 to look over something that took fucking 2 minutes for us to look over, 2 to 3 minutes to look over. Because why you got a lawyer in the first place? That was the whole purpose of having a fucking lawyer. If you got a lawyer, you don't need a fucking manager. The lawyer's going to say, hey, come back to you and say, hey, these are the terms. Do you agree with them or not? You don't need a manager to negotiate that, or somebody to filter out any bullshit, because at that point, it's about work. You're not trying to be amicable. Do you go to your job and try to be friends with everybody? No, you want to get your paycheck. You want to go to work and get your fucking paycheck. When you start trying to be friends and trying to hold an amicable shit, all that shit is fake anyway. Because at the end of the day, he played and he still got burnt. He played without a contract and he still got burnt. So right there, he was giving his, he was spreading his olive branch, giving his olive branch to the Ravens, saying, hey, I'm willing to go out there. I'm not going to hold out like Zeke Elliott. I'm gonna come to practice. I'm gonna even playing the game without a contract. And I should have been got my contract. That was the whole shit right there. But nobody brings that up anymore. Nobody, all that's out the window. It's all now Lamar is cocky. We didn't offered him this. We don't know. He doesn't have an agent. You don't first thing, like I tell people all the time, you don't need an agent to do anything. You need a good lawyer, and you need to be able to go in there and say, hey, this is what I want, and be direct with those people. To keep all that, fabricate all that other bullshit, all that other, all you're doing is filtering out shit. All that shit is going to come up at a time. All you're doing is building it up, letting it build up, instead of just being direct with the ownership and saying, hey, this is what I want. This is what I think I deserve. If y'all don't think I deserve this, tell it to me. Don't tell it to my agent. Because I'm paying him for, what am I paying him for? Just to filter the bullshit back to me? That's, you wasting money, bruh. You can go fix up your community. You can go buy the block with that $3 million, $4 million that you paying your agent. That 3%, 4% that you paying your agent.
I hear you on that, but at the same time, like, you're essentially, what you're saying is correct, right? But strategically, what you're saying is wrong. Essentially is correct, but strategically is wrong, because
in America, yeah,
because you're going into a situation that's got deep roots, right? And I'm not even going to play the race card. I'm not even going to bring up race. I'm just going to say it's got deep roots, and they do things a certain way.
Right.
So when you coming into an organization that does things a certain way, you're going to have to be damn near Michael Jordan to get them not to do it like that no more. You understand what I'm saying?
No. I definitely understand what you're saying.
So
I'm just saying
while Lamar
everybody's
Jackson,
not equipped.
Lamar Jackson is an exceptional player, right? He's an exceptional player. But Lamar Jackson is not the Michael Jordan of the NFL. And while I hope he succeeds in what he's trying to do, strategically, what he's doing isn't going to work out for the best for him, only because of the position that he's taking. Number one, his mother is his agent. Get your mother up out of here.
Guess who else's mother is his agent?
Where your father at?
And guess who else's mother was his agent?
Who?
And he got his money. He about to get his money. Kyrie. So all of that, man. Like all of that. I hear what you're saying. Like,
but hold on,
it's a lot of.
Hear me out though. Michael Jordan and them niggas already broke down. Niggas is doing what they want in the NBA at this point. Hundreds of millions of dollars in the NBA is nothing. Niggas on the bench is getting $50 million in the NBA.
Yeah,
so that's a different scenario because niggas already broke down the door in the NBA.
It's still sports and it's still sports and
For
entertainment.
sure.
He could be that guy, just like Cohen said. He could be that Kanye.
He could be, but at the same time, if Patrick Mahomes did it, who already got 2 rings, it would resonate more. Because Patrick Mahomes got 2 rings. You gotta have Patrick Mahomes. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think he's saying Lamar is not the face of the league.
This is like Dominique. No. What's my nigga that's beefing with Jordan from the Pistons?
Isaiah.
This is like Isaiah Walker demanding what Jordan wanted. No, you're Isaiah Walker. You're good, but like you're not
Isaiah
Jordan.
Thomas.
Yeah, Isaiah Thomas. Yeah, you're good, but you're not Jordan. You know what I mean?
So I think that this is what it boils down to, right?
But don't get me wrong. I agree with what you're saying. In theory, that shit makes sense.
But the NFL,
in practice,
the NFL,
Lamar Jackson can't pull it off unless
he won't. I'll say what he won't say. The NFL is still a good old boys network.
For sure it is.
As terms of
I would say that.
The NBA is not, right? The NBA is a talent driven league, right? We care about
black owners in the NBA.
Yeah, and we care about stars in the NBA. In the NFL, which they've purposely marketed and kept it this way, it's not about the players, it's about the team. I don't, because when you're super lined up or tapped into your team, when Taylor Heineke was the quarterback, we rooting for him. When Gus Frerotte was the quarterback, we rooting for him.
I remember good old Gus.
When fucking
Gus,
Jeff George,
the first of his name, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms and Protector of the Realm.
Like literally, it really doesn't even matter who's playing in the uniform.
Yeah,
our allegiance is to the team. But when it comes to the NBA, it's super star driven. Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Wilt Chamberlain, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant. These are transcendent figures.
Can I ask y'all this? Would you even, if you was in charge in the NFL, would you even want the NFL to be what the NBA is at this point?
That's what they're trying to keep. They're trying to keep that from happening.
So
and
I
that's
mean,
why
like,
I said Lamar could be the first person to break that buck, to buck that system.
These niggas,
and he's doing a good job.
We also got to think about the league. If Lamar does that, he ruins the league.
Does he? For who?
In my opinion, the NBA is ruined.
He ruins the league for the owners because they gotta have more of a revenue share.
I can barely watch the NBA. It's too much drama. It's too much bullshit.
You sound like a snowflake conservative.
I'm not a snowflake. Just saying.
What drama that turns you away from the NBA?
The NBA is full of fucking drama.
Oh, the sports betting turned it all messed up, Cohen. The sports betting just kind of made it even worse.
Sports betting is every sport.
Oh, the NBA.
No. Look, we ain't letting them off the hook. What about the NBA drama turns you off?
So
it's manipulated. It could be manipulated.
It's the thing with the NBA. The NBA is like almost like playing like Madden and like giving all your players like all the fucking attributes. You can just do that in the NBA. It's like, oh well, you know what? Let me go. I want to go over here with LeBron and win 8 championships. Like the NBA sucks.
Do you watch the calls, Cohen? Like, do you watch the how the calls go and how?
I'm talking about Trip Simpson saying it's too much drama. I wouldn't.
That's it.
That's what I mean by the drama. It's too much. It's the NBA
manipulated.
Yo, shout out to Jason Whitlock. The NBA seems like it's ran by a single mother.
You right.
They couldn't wait to do that.
You right. I don't like the NBA either, but I think that the NFL. I think that he'll be. I think that this is a good way of somebody at Lamar's status. I think he's really one of the only people that can do this. That is black.
He can
I don't think y'all know of a black person that can pull this off, and he's doing a good job. He hasn't folded yet. I think that somebody else will fold before he folds.
I don't think he understands his leverage, right? In a good and a bad way, right? He has a lot of leverage because he's a former MVP. He's an amazing player. But on the flip side, the NFL is a machine that takes players in and spits them out, right?
Yeah.
The most famous player of our generation was Tom Brady, right? New England was ready to move off him. Now he ended up benefiting by winning the championship at the end, but the greatest have been moved off of. The Drew Breeses, the Peyton Mannings. They found success other places, but even the greatest of the sport, the NFL machine will move off you and keep moving, and it's set up that way. Like,
I'm not saying that he's going to win with the Ravens.
They give you a penalty for taking your helmet off,
right? Because they don't want to show. They don't want them to show their face.
They don't want to see your face if you're not the quarterback or the star wide receiver or the star corner, whatever. They don't want to see your face because you're just a cog in the wheel.
I kind of like it though. I feel like the NBA is a man's league. Like,
but you gotta look at it. It's different though. Like, unlike any other league, one player can determine your destiny. Like, LeBron James can go, and in his height, he can go to any team and take you to the finals, and then leave your team and you go to last place.
Yeah,
that can't happen in football, right? You can have the best quarterback, but if you ain't got no O-line, shit don't really. He gonna win maybe 7 games.
I think at the end of the day, I mean, the bottom line is the NFL wants to keep the element of the shit being a team sport.
Yeah.
If you go the way the NBA goes,
it's about the shield.
The game is over. It's damn near over now because of how soft it is. But if they go all the way that way where the NBA is, it's over.
I don't agree that everybody deserves. I don't agree
Trip
that
wants people that have concussions and CTE.
I do. I miss those days.
I just wish this narrative of you got to have an agent and you got to have some type of white organization or some type of, you got to pay into the system, somebody that's paying into this, because even these black agents, a lot of them are working for white agents.
Well, can I ask you this?
Especially if it's a high black agent.
I hear what you're saying, but like
high level black agent.
I hear what you're saying, but I feel like that is an excuse for black folks not to pursue being an agent. You know what I mean?
It definitely is a. No, I was in that capacity, and I'm still in that capacity right now, unofficially. But the reason why I won't get too far into it because I am working with kids that I'm more close. When everybody asks me, they say, "Oh, you're an agent." No, I care more. I'm more of a manager. I'm more of a mentor. I work with the kids on a day-to-day basis. These kids come to my house and live in my house.
But
I'm not worrying about. I put people before money. Agents don't put people before money.
Let me ask you this though: have you seen the 5 Heartbeats?
Yeah.
You remember the nigga that was managing the 5 Heartbeats?
Mm-hmm.
You remember what happened to him? Man, fuck them kids. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying. You gonna raise them kids up, and then Big Red is gonna sign them niggas
and leave you in the dust.
And you gonna be in the dust, man. Fuck them kids.
Well, it's happened before with Chris Paul. So once it happened to you, I was with Chris Paul when he was in high school. So I used to be down Wake Forest. I remember when I first got down to orientation, he told me, "Hey, I'll be on the bench." And I believed him. I was 22 years old. Chris was 18. I was just a kid. I was a kid back then. My second year in high school, in college. So, that happens. This game is not for the faint. You have to be built for this shit. And you also got to accept what your purpose is. And once you accept what your purpose is, you don't worry about all the Big Red and all that. Because like I said, I'm not in it for the money. I care about people more than money. And agents don't care about the people. They don't care about the player. They care about the money. And they're a number to them. So that's where my job is kind of unique right now. I got a couple of kids at colleges. I got a couple of kids that's, coming out, or got a couple of kids that's, so I let the parents know of the break, like, hey, they're going to come with me. They're going to train. They're going to get mentored. They're going to get yoga training. They're going to get spiritual guidance from, people that are around me. We're going to actually sit with these kids and make sure these kids are ready for what they're about to get into. So that's my role, and that's my purpose. And I've accepted that. I'm not in it for what the agents are in it for. That's a whole different game. And, like I said, that's it's something that you can't be mad about. You can't be upset if you know your purpose and you know what you're in it for. But what I was saying about Lamar Cohen, I don't think that he's going to get it particularly from Baltimore. I'm not saying that, like you said, they're going to move you somewhere else. That's fine. They moved Russell Wilson. The Redskins the Commanders was like, we're not giving Russell that money. So he went to Denver. We're not giving up the farm for him. He went to Denver. A lot of teams were like, we're not giving up the farm for him. So he went to Denver. So I think that he'll go somewhere else and get the money that he deserves. I just don't think, like you're right, I don't think he's going to be getting it from Baltimore. I don't think he's going to particularly, stay with Baltimore.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think he's going to get it from Baltimore either. And like I said, it's a collusion between all 32 owners to not reset the market. And because once you reset the market, you open the floodgates. Now, from a business perspective, for all of them to collude together, it's a smart thing to do because they own the business. Is it morally right? Is it right within the rules that are set for leagues that owners should not be colluding? No, it's not right, because that's against the rules, because it holds back the game. Because don't get it twisted, revenue for NFL goes up every single year. As a person who has attended and attend NFL games, the shit goes up every year. Tickets, the drinks, everything cost associated with NFL goes up every year. So as players negotiate their CBA, because don't get it twisted, players have a union for a reason, because they have to negotiate what they want. And the owners are always going to try to get the best deal for them.
But we're always looked at in our community as, oh, he's arrogant if we don't take the deal, if we don't just take the check. You know what I mean? We not the nigga to take the check. We always the person that is coming off in the media as being and nobody's coming to our defense. Because
the media is not our tool. The media is their tool. So it's in their best interest for them to leak. Like, they leak information to Adam Schefter, say, oh, we gave him this, but he didn't take that deal. Or, he's difficult to deal with. All of these things put pressure on the other side to fold to the deal sooner, because at the end of the day, in all negotiations, you get not what you're worth, is what you negotiate.
You know who the media is for? The media are the spoils of war.
That's a fact.
So
that is a fact.
When you constantly lose a war, you can't expect the media to be your spoils, because you lost.
That's a fact. I say that on this show all the time. The first thing they do when countries roll in, conquer another country, they take over the television and the radio station. The first thing that they do.
Or you don't even got to take it over. If you intimidate
or just
them,
blow it up. No, they either take it over or blow it up.
Let's look at the LGBT community, right? They dominate the media not because they're this big population of people. It's the money. They can crack the whip. You don't do what I say, you don't get this and you don't get that. Black folks, man, we think we can PD people into siding with us, which we do sometimes. But it's not sufficient.
But what other alternative do we have?
The only alternative is to really crack down and get on your shit. Get together for real. Crack down, get on your shit, and crack the whip back.
So from a financial perspective, right? Black people are infantile in our money associations and privilege in America. Not to say that we're not growing, not to say we're not building,
but we're not.
But we are infantile, right?
Yeah.
Let's say 20, 30 years ago, there were no black billionaires, right? 50 years ago, you count the amount of black millionaires on one hand, right? They were in specific industries doing specific things. We are splitting our wings financially, but we are disjointed in terms of identity, right? Then now there are thousands of black millionaires across this country. When 50 years ago, you can count 10 to 12, right? So,
but you know, essentially we're at the same rate because a billionaire 50 years ago is a millionaire now.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if we don't codify our financial progress into a specific movement, whether it's right, left, center, whatever, I don't give a fuck which way it goes, but we're still so disjointed. What little financial power we have, we can't exact any consequences on anybody.
It's the uncomfortable truths that we have to come to grips with that we don't want to do. And I'm not to toot my own horn, but at the same time, the uncomfortable shit that I say about niggas on this show a lot of times, those are the things that we have to deal with in order to compete. If we keep coddling ourselves and saying, well, you know, it's because of this, man, we can do that all day. It's not going to get us nowhere.
I agree with you 99% of the way, right? The only where we diverge is you fail to realize the education or information, however you acquired it, you have it.
I didn't pay for it though.
But no,
I got no college degree.
But listen to it. We ain't even talking about college. I'm saying the information you acquired that made you change your mindset or put yourself in a mindset to understand the game that's being played, how to step outside of the game to stop being played and play the game yourself, which we fully can't as black men in America. We fully can't do that yet. The best we can do is make enough money, get enough connections, buy enough guns, get enough land to insulate ourselves from that the best way as possible. You have that information. I don't know where you acquired it. Somewhere along. Let me finish. Where along the line you acquired it, but you have it. And then you act on it.
You know what I do?
What we have to understand as a community, we can't take the information and run with it and then go tell them to pull up. You better do it like I did it. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That's the only difference between me and you.
If you don't study winners, then you're going to keep losing. Unfortunately, like this is why I'm not going to. I'm going to teach my kids about certain black folks in history, right? But I don't want.
And your kids have the benefit of you teaching them.
Hear me out, though. I don't want my kids to concentrate on black literature. You know why? Because I want my kids to study winners, right? Mm-hmm. The uncomfortable truth is that we're losers, right? And once you know you're a loser, then you can start working on being a winner. But when you're a loser and you think that you're a winner, it makes you a bigger loser. If that makes any sense.
So what do all the kids in the hood wearing designer, struggling
to make?
Hold on. They think they're winners because they've acquired these little small material things, right? Because that's all they've ever seen. I can have empathy and understanding for, let's say, name a ghetto in DC. Let's say River Terrace. 37th, right? If I'm a kid that grew up in a household in 37th. I went to the school in the neighborhood of 37th. My household is all people of 37th. If there's no intervention anywhere in my upbringing, the things that we talk about on this show, these high level conversations, how do we progress? How do we move? How do we get? When will they ever receive that information?
So
they won't. Yeah.
It starts with us. See, it starts with the common person. It starts with telling people, okay, we lost. We have to start there. We lost. We can't start with black excellence and Jay-Z and Beyonce and all these people, right? Because they're anecdotal people. I
don't think you have to explain the loss because they live the loss.
No, but they go to school, right? And every day they get lied to.
They live the loss.
They go to school and every day they get lied to. Now, I don't want to bring this conversation to some other shit, right? But part of the problem why conservative black folks don't agree with CRT is because CRT constantly tells black children, you don't have a shot, you're black. It's because you're black, you'll never make it. White supremacy, white supremacy.
That's a talking point. That right there is the talk about, because nothing about.
See,
so
you're not gonna let me finish. You just cut me off. You're not gonna let me finish my point.
All right, go ahead. I'll respond.
I'm not trying to go down the CRT rabbit hole. We've already done it.
But you mentioned it.
But part of the problem is that we don't come to grips with ourselves and say, we lost. How do we win? We do not win by having a pity party. We win by huddling up, getting down, getting dirty, and getting to business. Just like everyone else who comes to America does. Nigerians are black. Right? So you could say they're subject to systematic white supremacy just like we are. But the Nigerian household median is well beyond the black American household median. Why? Because Nigerians know I'm in America, I gotta get on the grind, and we're gonna keep it tight. Like, we have to get that mindset.
They not celebrating moral victories. They just
let me know when you finish.
They're like, let's get this education.
Let me know when you finish.
And you know me, and you know me. I'm the first nigga that would be like, get these Nigerian niggas up out of here. But at the same time that I will fry a Nigerian, I have to respect the Nigerian, because Nigerians know what they have to do when they come to America. Mexicans know what they have to do when they come to America. We fall for every goddamn trick in the book.
What's the common denominator in the things you just named?
I don't know. You tell
people immigrating to America with a mindset.
Fine.
So if you compare the average black American to the average Nigerian in Nigeria,
yeah, I mean, we're doing better than them. Nigeria sucks.
If you compare the average Mexican in Mexico,
Mexico sucks
to the average black American. So this whole notion of I'm comparing the best and brightest coming from these countries.
Would you really say they're the best and brightest?
Don't get it twisted.
You say the Mexicans that come here are the best and brightest?
I'm talking about the high level people that you're comparing. Like the people who come in here, drive the cabs, drive Uber, build a business, do their thing. So one thing I realized, right? It's a certain level of mentality that will make you look above your circumstances. They got a certain level of information, a certain level of drive. They're not your average person. Just like someone would look at our situation, we do shit in reverse. We do parties across the country. We about to do a party in another country. The average person does not have that risk tolerance, business acumen, all the things that let you just say,
the average person doesn't even need to do that.
I'm not finished. The average person does not have all of the qualities that allow them to do that. We are not the average people in being able to do that. So to compare your average black American in regular community to the ones who save money. First of all, it takes money to fly from one continent to another. That's the same reason why we get respect as black Americans when we're on vacation and we fly to these other countries. We're doing fly shit, fly houses, fly clothes. It's a certain cachet that comes with that in general. So to compare those things is disingenuous because it's not the same. Number two, let's go back to the conversation of how did you acquire the knowledge? Why I told you to name your whatever ghetto in DC or whatever ghetto in any place in America where you have you might have a child that lives through generations of poor schooling, poor nutrition, poor parenting. What do I expect that child to make great decisions? 1 or 2 out of 10 are going to rise above that circumstances and make some great decisions, right? The other 8 are going to do what everybody in their else community does because that's what they know. So my mission and my life goal is to, how do I bring that knowledge, information, circumstances to as many people in those circumstances to let them know the game that they playing. It's not about woe is me or I don't know or we're a victim. No, you need to know the game that you playing. You need to know you can work hard as shit to get a house, but you still get redlined. But you need to that. You need to know you can work hard as shit to build your credit score up.
Redlining is over.
Huh?
Redlining is over.
It's not over.
It's been over.
So look up housing discrimination from Bank of America and Wells Fargo. There are plenty of stories.
Redlining used to be a government policy. It's not a government policy.
So because racism stopped being a government policy, did racism end?
Let me ask you. I'll tell you what's not a government policy. Niggas pissing in their elevators in the apartments that they live in. Niggas throwing trash everywhere. bitches having babies by different niggas and not even thinking about getting married. That's not a government policy. That's nigga policy.
So
no. Fuck that. I just let you talk. I just let you talk. See, I'm not about to sit up here and go back and forth.
I'll let you go with the racist dog whistles.
Go with the dog whistles. I'm not going to sit up here and even go back and forth with you over that. Like I say this, if you want to play that card and niggas don't have this, then fuck niggas then. Let it all burn to hell. I'm not going to burn to hell. I'm going to go get mine. So if you niggas want to come get some shit with me, listen to what the fuck I'm telling you and let's get busy. Or you can sit over there in 30 seconds or wherever you at and cry to the white man all day who ain't gonna give you shit but crumbs.
Where in the world do poor people not live poor? I don't care if it's India. I don't care if it's China.
Bro, this is America. Poor people come to America to get unpoor.
But it's all relative. If you already
here poor. Not. So
no.
Fuck that. Because you just talk. What they have successfully done is convince Black Americans that they don't live in the richest nation in the world,
that they don't,
and that they can't take advantage of it. When they absolutely can.
Yeah.
They absolutely can. But they have convinced you that you can't. And if you're convinced that you can't, don't fucking talk to me. I don't want nothing to do with you.
So nothing in my rhetoric, message, or anything convinces people they can. That message is actually that you can. But you gotta know.
I didn't get that out of what you have
to know. I literally say you have to know the game that you're playing. Just like I tell my students, right?
No.
I'm gonna tell you.
Can I prove your statement? Because I agree. You have to want to know. You have to want to know.
But you gotta know what to want. So that's the thing.
That's not on the white man. That's on you.
You have it. No, I'm not so buzzword white man. No, we're talking about systematic racism.
They didn't know the supremacy. The system thrives on poor and rich.
Black people can be in that position. Indian people could be in that position. It's systematic oppression in all nations, right? We just happen to be the ones that being oppressed right now. It's systematic oppression
in the richest nation in the world. And poor people are coming over here doing better than us.
Because they like super poor.
So but no
guess what? If you woke up and your whole life you're poor in comparison to your neighbor, but you're not poor in comparison where you didn't have electricity, you didn't have no shoes, you don't even know what that even. You don't even know what that is.
Stop making excuses for niggas. And tell niggas
it's not an excuse. That's just the.
I got no excuses for niggas.
That's relativity.
Let's get busy. That's all I got to say.
So you're saying get busy. Are you for like bolstering the education system? Are you for helping food deserts get better food? Are you for mental health for the community? All these things you saying get busy.
I don't give a fuck about none of that shit.
So that means you really don't care.
That's the only thing that's going to help. That's the only thing that's going to bring us.
I'm going to tell you what's going to help.
Those are the elements that bring you.
That's not what's going to help. That's not what's going to help.
It is.
As long as we promote. Hold on, no. Stop. Fuck that. As long as we promote bastardized families.
Back to the talking points.
No, but that's the truth.
Who promotes bastardized families?
Niggas. All day, every day.
So we have the invisible boogeyman white man. You have the invisible boogeyman.
The white man is invisible.
But the
single mother culture is live and in color in our face every day. These bitches produce failures on a regular basis, and we condone it.
How do we condone it?
All these bitches do is produce failures.
How do we condone it?
And we condone it.
How do we condone it?
We condone it.
How?
Let's go back to Tupac, Dear Mama. The song is about a failure of a mother, and we look at this shit like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. The bitch.
He's right, Cohen. You know how many baby showers are being?
Jesus Christ.
You know how many baby showers have been given for bras that got 2 and 3 and 4 kids still with no? What are you still giving her a baby shower for? Why are you celebrating this? That's what he's saying. That's what Tripp's saying. Why are you celebrating?
That's our
single
problem.
Mother. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem.
So,
he said we're using
don't get it
culture.
twisted. I find that babies born out of wedlock, fatherless homes is definitely a problem. It's absolutely a problem. But what Tripp Simpson and other conservatives fail to address is what are the factors that lead to these problems.
You know what leads to it? That's reckless hoes.
So if you don't address the poor education system, if you don't address the unequal criminal justice system, if you don't address the poor food quality in these communities, you're raising failures. There's nothing in the system that says, "Hey,
all of those things are after products."
It's not an after product
of single mother hell.
It's not an after
Those are
product.
after products of single mother hell.
How old?
Because the single mother says, "Fuck it, just get the Doritos." Then
how old are you?
That's what single mothers do.
How old are you?
But a bitch that got a man in the house, the father says, "Fuck no, he going to eat broccoli. I don't care how long he cries, he can starve." But the mother says, "Fuck it, give him the McDonald's, give him the Doritos."
How old?
That's the problem in the black community.
How old are you, Trip?
I'm 39 years old.
So you've been alive to see a generation be born and have their own children, correct? You know our friends that almost have adult children, correct?
Yes.
So we can make a critical analysis of the people who came from certain households, who came from other households.
I can say the ones with active fathers, the ones with active fathers do exponentially well.
Whose circumstances affected how they fucking kids came out. Right? The babies of the crack era. Like, we're literally dealing with parents and grandparents of the crack era. We can take it back to, I got the Free Tony Lewis shirt on. We are in DC. We are, let this sink in, people. We are literally dealing with the children and grandchildren of this era. And people are confused, like, why are the kids acting like this? What's going on with this? Why is this? Why are they so disconnected? As Malcolm X used to say, our chickens have come home to roost. These are our little chicklets running around, stealing cars, shooting people, robbing people. But when it was time to address this problem in a real significant way, you know, we leaned on tough on crime. We leaned on 3 strikes. We leaned on super predator. We leaned on, we're gonna jail our way out of this problem instead of funding the rec centers. When I grew up, my rec centers was a piece of shit.
All right, so
funding community sports. When I grew up, if the parents weren't involved, luckily we grew up uptown. We played for Lamar Riggs. Parents and the community were super involved in making sure we were good. The other teams that I'm not finished, the other teams that did not have
Jesus Christ,
they were down bad. Right? So I see the direct correlation between who raised them, how the community was funded, what went on to how this next generation is. We try to pretend like we don't know how they got here. When we actually know exactly how we got to where we are. This is a chickens coming home to roost. And these Democrats in DC that let capitalism go wild, gentrification go wild, now try to fake like, well, I don't know what happened. I don't understand. I moved the food. So I moved rich people right next to poor people, and I don't understand why they robbing them.
I
took trade out of their schools. I didn't fund their rec centers. I didn't.
Allow me to break this down.
I'm not finished. I took trade out of their schools. I underfunded their sports. I didn't build up their rec centers, but I don't understand why they on the streets. I removed the grocery stores from the neighborhoods. I let them build liquor store, carry out, and I don't understand why they're malnourished and crazy. I don't understand, even though they did all these things to this community. So if we really want to get real, the people who are financially benefiting from these situations have been turning a blind eye. And now finally they can't turn a blind eye because the shit's getting out of control.
Okay.
Corn, I got a question for you. Did you grow up off of Kansas Avenue?
I did.
So your best friend one of your best friends was Douglas Jones?
Absolutely.
That's my best friend.
Oh, that's crazy.
I remember you from back in the day. Like, that's how, yeah. I was the dude that went to St. John's. I was wondering if that was you the whole time.
Yeah, bro.
But I never asked.
That was my man's back then.
Yeah. I haven't talked to Doug in like 8 years, but we'll talk about that later. I'm gonna catch up with you later. We're gonna talk about some stuff.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
So look,
because I know your father, I know your pops. You know what I'm saying?
So I really want to get into what you're saying, and then we'll get into the final. I wanted to get into Trump and all that, but we already 2 hours.
It's crazy.
So Mr. Cosby, right? Here's the thing. when we talk about communities and we talk about crime and we talk about who did what, right? I make it a point to always point out how black women abandoned the civil rights movement and took government checks. They either took government checks or they listened to white women and became feminists. Or they just outright aborted their babies, right? The biggest problem we have, and I will say this until the day I die, is single mother-led households. I'll give you an example. Don't cut me off. One of my favorite movies is Goodfellas. Everyone's seen Goodfellas, right? When you look at what the Italian immigrants went through in the 50s and 60s, right? Growing up. How the crime went through the Italian community. One reason that the Italians were able to use their crime to turn them into billion-dollar industries is because they had male structure in their families. Regardless of how poor they were, they had male structure. You couldn't become a kingpin if you were 18, 19 years old. You had to be 40, 50 before you became a lieutenant. 60, 65 by the time you came a mob boss.
Bullshit.
That's true, but
it's on Your Honor. One of the parts on Your Honor, the woman was like, the lady of the family was like, she was like, I can run the family. He was like, that's not how we do things.
You know why you don't do things like that? Here's the problem. When you don't have a father in the household, you have 18, 19-year-olds that think they're grown men. Hence, Alpo, Rayful Edmonds, Rich Porter, all them niggas.
This is straw man.
Hold on, shut the fuck up. I just let you fucking talk. I just let you talk. Leave me the fuck alone.
You comparing two different eras.
Chill, bro. I'm talking. I let you talk.
Bumpy Johnson was 40 years old.
I was quiet. I let you talk. One thing,
false equivalence,
that these other ethnicities that were involved in crime had was a male infrastructure in place.
False equivalency.
Even if you want to bring up Bumpy Johnson was in the 60s, right? The 50s and 60s, when we didn't really get hit by the single mother epidemic.
So you're making a false equivalency.
So the bottom line is this, bro. When you have 17, 18, 19-year-olds with no fathers coming across all this crack money, what do? They don't have no guidance. The pool hall niggas don't exist no more. You know what I mean? The pool hall niggas, that's old school 60s shit. The drug dealers had pool halls, car shops, all that type of shit where they launder money. There's no laundering money no more. There's just 16, 17, 18-year-old niggas under single mother households getting millions of dollars, blowing the money every day, buying Acuras and Z's.
How did the old heads get out of the community?
I'm not fucking finished talking, bro. Be quiet.
I just wanted to know what happened to the old heads.
So here's the thing. What happened to all them niggas? They all perished. They either died killing each other too quick or they went to jail being stupid. They had no guidance. The problem with the black community, crack was a problem. But if there was fathers in the home to guide these motherfuckers selling crack, if there was a real infrastructure of these crews who were doing illegal things, who knows? We could have the biggest cranes in the sky right now. You see Bozito. That's Bozito.
Yeah.
All in DC.
Bozzuto, yeah.
That's Italian crime money.
Italian junk, yeah.
Bro.
You think they was gonna let niggas have that?
Bro, here's the thing. When you have the respect and you keep your community intact, they don't have no choice but to respect you. But when you got a community led by hoes raising little nigglets, you ain't gonna get no respect. Because it ain't deserved.
So you thought they was gonna let niggas have that?
Niggas could have had it if they didn't fall for the okie doke.
Yeah.
I'm all about accountability, bro. We fell for the okie doke.
I feel like history tells a different story. History tells that every black strong leader was murdered or imprisoned, every thriving black community economically was poisoned, burned down, or made a highway put through it. So there have been instances where black leaders, male black leaders, Martin Luther King, he was a preacher. He preached family. Malcolm X, he was a preacher, preached family. Medgar Evers, preachers, preached family. All of our strong black leaders, even a 21-year-old Fred Hampton was killed with his woman and his baby. So these strong black leaders, male leaders you talked about, the government feared.
Yeah, but they had no money.
They feared our black family.
They had no money.
They feared John Kennedy. They feared these men.
They feared John F. Kennedy too, and they smoked them. But that didn't stop the Irish.
Right.
What the fuck are you talking about?
They didn't have no. We talking about people that
Irish
like
people
Big
are white.
Meech that had. We talking about people that Big Meech that had money to run, that could own a own basketball team, football team. He was making that much money. Rayful, they had that type of money. That's what Tripp's talking about. They had that type of money, but the structure wasn't there. They was worrying about buying material shit,
buying clothes, chains, cars. The mob was buying dump trucks. They was buying unions. They was spending their money on real shit.
They was buying politicians. It's a dude right now, Cole, that just got $1 billion. He just left Apple Music, a black man. They just got $1 billion. Guess who gave him that $1 billion? Because he knows how smart this guy is. He knows how smart Larry Jackson is. He got $1 billion from the Arabs to run this private equity firm, so he can buy Busta Rhymes Publishing. He just signed Travis Scott, and he just got Usher's Publishing. But guess what happened? He didn't do it on his own. But he's the face of the company.
So when you start comparing entertainers, NFL, NBA, singers to the average black community, is going to be askew because entertainers in the black community have always thrived over the normal community when the community was in poverty.
I'm not using him. I'm not using him.
Money. We're talking about because he made.
I'm talking about an industry. He just took an industry.
Yeah, but I'm saying he's talking about how we ended up in fatherless homes, right? I made a comment about what happened to the OGs, right?
They were worried about material stuff.
The OGs got taken out by the criminal justice system.
The OGs got taken out by the OGs. Nigga.
So this is the thing, right? If you put any ethnic community, we try to make it seem like black people are unique in the world, that when we got put in a depressed economic situation in the land that we weren't wanted in, or being oppressed in, that crime, fatherlessness, all of these symptoms of poverty and oppression are just unique to the black experience. They are not. It's a human experience. So my thing is, if we don't tell the truth about how we get there, we cannot have truthful solutions. If we talk about, he always talks about, all right, the women fell for the welfare trap. I feel like they fell for the welfare trap too. But what were the conditions at the time that women fell for the welfare trap?
I don't think it matters.
If you live in a community that has the power to limit your access to jobs, limit your access to education, limit your access to where you can live, they can make you make choice. They can offer you a good choice. Just like the mob had the deal too good to refuse, because you knew what the alternative was to that deal. Now the deal might not have been in your favor, but if the alternative was death, you got to take the deal. And at the time, if the government is working on taking your men out of the home by drafting them to Vietnam War, by incarcerating them for drugs, incarcerating them for any little crime, all of the black men are being taken out of the community.
That's a small percentage of men.
At the same time,
that's a small percentage of men.
That's a small percentage.
So if you tally up the numbers who were drafted into the Vietnam War, and you also tally up the numbers of men that were entering the criminal justice system, it's not a small number.
Can we tally up the number of men who were raised by single mothers?
Especially if we're talking, especially when we're talking about
nigga, that's the number that matters. The niggas that's raised by single mothers, that number is overwhelming.
That number outnumbers.
I'm about to ask Trip Simpson a question.
Come on, man, you gotta be real,
and
bro.
I guarantee it's gonna prove my point. I guarantee if you answer this one question.
Okay, guarantee it.
At what time did the marriage rate in the black community go down?
The 60s.
What happened in the 60s that made the marriage rate go down?
Welfare and feminism.
Those are only two things?
Yes.
Women just decide, I don't want to get married no more?
Look, I tell you what, we'll do this.
Oh, no, this not.
Because we can do this all day. We got one more topic that we need to hit before we get to final thoughts. And we can do this all day.
What two factors coincided with the marriage rate in the black community? It wasn't just we hit the 60s and bitches say, I'm going to burn my bra.
Feminism and welfare, nigga. I stand on that.
That's it.
What you got, nigga?
That's it. I mean, like I said,
nigga, that's why I'm standing on that.
So at the same time, men still wanted to be married, women still wanted to be married, but at the same time, it was a mass exodus of men from the black community due to war and the war on drugs. When did Nixon's war on drugs start?
Nixon didn't start the war on drugs.
When did Nixon's war on drugs start?
First of all, Nixon didn't start the war on drugs. No, he didn't.
Google Nixon's war on drugs.
Who started the war on drugs?
Hey, I love you guys. I gotta jump off on it. I love y'all. I'm gonna talk to you a little bit y'all later.
All right, bro.
It's getting kind of late out here.
Oh, yeah, he in Cali. It's like motherfucking 2 o'clock out there.
Nah, it's 8. It's 9 o'clock. It's about to be 9.
Oh, it's back, man.
But I got it's about to be 9. But
we going on midnight over here.
Man, I got these 3 kids I gotta feed in here. So
that's
I'd love for y'all to, let me on and, talk, and I enjoy both of the conversation because I agree with both of y'all on a lot of different things. But I just wanted to kind of see where everybody was thinking, and, just the positive feedback, and just a conversation about us as a people and bringing us as a people up and what we need to do for ourselves before blaming other people, for what we can do. That, I mean, all we can do is our part, man. Like, that's all I'm trying to do is my part in the community, and, everybody else, just do your part. I have faith that things will change. We can change the rhetoric. We can change a lot of narratives that are circling us. But you got to believe. You can't get mad, and you can't get, discouraged. You got to believe.
For sure. But look, it's always a pleasure, bro. Always, hit me up whenever you want to come on. Like I said, we had a great time.
Thank you. And Corn, I'm gonna get with you soon. We're gonna have a nice drink when I get home. I might come home in a few weeks, so let
me know when you get here, bro. Let's do it up.
Yeah. Because me and Cohen, we got a lot of history. I've known him since he was a little boy, and he didn't even know who I was.
Look, I thought you looked familiar, but I just didn't know where from. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I remember you was like 7, 8, man, coming down. Cause we used to have all the funniest shit happen at your house. We used to love coming. I used to want to come up your house all the time.
It was all fun at the Cosby house.
It was lit.
It was boring at Doug house. He with his grandparents and shit. They was boring. I loved them to death though.
This man Trip. This man had the most, like, the littest child. Like, he got stories that he probably ain't gonna tell you. That's just the craziest stories.
No, look, man, Trip knows my dad. We play Little League football.
Yeah, we go back to Lamont Riggs, bro.
I've known him just as long as I knew Doug. So I know his father, his sisters. I know his whole family. Like, we've been friends since. People be surprised. They think we like fucking mortal enemies because we argue in the show.
No, that's my nigga.
It's like,
bro, we're gonna be in Mexico on Saturday throwing a party. Excuse me, Sunday.
Oh, good.
Like,
I know y'all got a good relationship, man. I can tell. But no, I think y'all was at Lamont Riggs. I think I was there a year before y'all started coming there. I think I was there because I'm 40, so y'all was the year behind me.
Oh yeah,
but I probably played on a lot of y'all teams because I was smaller, so I had to play the pounds. That's when we went by pounds.
Doug tried to play, but he was soft. He quit.
Yeah. Oh, he quit.
That nigga was soft.
Don't do Doug like that.
He was, bro. That's my man, but he was soft. He didn't want to play.
But nah, man, thanks for having me. Anytime y'all want me on, especially if y'all get back into this music business stuff, because everything is about to change in this music business thing.
Yo, anytime we want
everything is going to AI.
We always need subject matter experts on this joint because we be on here talking a lot of shit.
If y'all haven't noticed, like a lot of stuff
really do that shit.
A lot of the industry about to go AI. A lot of the league, a lot of stuff is about to, a lot of stuff is about to change in the music industry. You see everybody selling their catalogs. So when y'all had that conversation about people selling their catalogs and why they selling their catalogs,
I'm trying to have that shit next week. What's up?
Yeah, let's do it.
Just hit me. I'm available.
Facts, bro. Good luck.
Thanks, man. Love y'all.
All right, bro.
All right, so Kazi, what you want to do? You want to go final thoughts, or you want to get into this Trump shit?
Now, let's do a little Trump.
Yeah, because the thumbnail has Trump on it, and we have not talked about Trump.
Let's do a little Trump.
All right, the thumbnail has Trump on it.
All right, look, y'all. Let's give a little backstory. So, this whole possible arrest of Trump is stemming from his 2016 hush money payments to exotic entertainer Stormy Daniels, ahead of his presidential campaign run. So why he's in hot water and why his lawyer, who actually made the payment, is actually in jail right now, is because they considered a campaign finance violation, because the reason for the payment was to hush the story to not damage him ahead of his presidential run. So I think now the political climate is the establishment Republicans who never really liked Trump in the first place, but was very afraid of his base, are no longer afraid of his base because they're seeing all of the Trump-backed candidates in the midterms have lost. All the ones that was on the Stop the Steal, really radical stuff, they lost the election. So the political tide and the appetite to really go after Trump has changed because the Mitch McConnells of the world, the Marco Rubios, they never really liked Trump to begin with.
Don't get it twisted. I'm Trump all day.
Yeah, but they didn't like him. But he has such a populist movement. It was either get down or lay down. Like we seen with what's my man Ted Cruz? He called that man wife ugly. He emasculated that man, and 3 weeks later he was phone banking for him. Ain't no nigga gonna call my bitch ugly and call me stupid, and then I'm going to phone bank for him. Like,
but did Trump lie?
He hit him with the get down or lay down.
I fucks with
Trump. Now Trump tied into the mob and all. We know his dealings in New Jersey with the casinos. So he has a very La Costa Nostra way of dealing with things. Bro. And I respect it. Get down or lay down. Get out of the way.
If you know me, I'm Trump 2024 all day.
But now his chickens, as I like to say, his chickens are coming home to roost.
They're not chickens. They're more like Easter eggs. And they're not going to roost.
So let's get one thing straight. I don't think Trump will do any jail time because they just don't put former presidents in jail.
Oh, this is political.
That's not what we do. But is he gonna get indicted and possibly arrested? I think so, because the atmosphere right now is not to protect him, it's to harm him because he's getting ready to run. So I think they are. I can't believe you just admitted that. They are going to arrest him.
So damn. So you do agree that this is
political? No, because if it wasn't political, he would have. His co-conspirator went to jail, did 3 years, and got out of jail. And nothing happened to him. So if it was actually about the rule of law, he would have went to jail when Michael Cohen went to jail, because Michael Cohen went to jail for making payments for him, and just that's not debatable. So it's definitely political. But I think the atmosphere right now politically, he's vulnerable. So they're gonna take some shots at him while he's vulnerable.
Wow. Hey, okay. All right. Let's get into the video.
Former President Donald Trump claiming over the weekend that he will be arrested tomorrow on charges by the Manhattan DA, which is investigating his involvement in a hush money payment. Chief Washington correspondent John Carl is tracking this story. John, good morning.
Good morning, Whit. The only person saying that Donald Trump will be arrested tomorrow is Donald Trump. And Trump's own spokesperson says that they have not been notified of any pending arrests. Nevertheless, local and federal law enforcement are on alert this morning because Trump has called on his supporters to go out and protest and, quote, take our nation back.
January
Donald
6th,
Trump is
part
making
2.
another claim
White on
without
white
any
crime.
evidence, but this time the former president's words are sparking fears of violence. Over the weekend, Trump claimed he will be arrested tomorrow, indicted by the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg for charges related to hush money payment he made to porn star.
Shout out to Trump. You know what he calls Stormy Daniels?
What?
Stormy Horseface Daniels. I swear to God, I'm voting for this nigga. If I could vote for him 18,000 times, I would. I swear to God.
Stormy Daniels. ABC News has not verified his claims, and Trump hasn't said why he thinks he'll be arrested tomorrow. His own spokesman said they have received no notice from the DA's office. Trump has acknowledged paying Daniels $130,000, a payment he allegedly concealed in the final days of the 2016 campaign, violating election laws and falsifying documents. Trump originally denied any knowledge of the payment.
Did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels?
But his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, pleaded guilty to federal campaign finance violations in 2018, admitting to helping arrange the payment. Cohen tells George he's absolutely prepared to testify against Trump.
All the information that is needed in order to create the indictment, to get a prosecution and a conviction, is in the hands of the district attorney.
Bragg's office has not commented, but the DA told staff in an email obtained by ABC News, "We do not tolerate attempts to intimidate our office or threaten the rule of law in New York." Already Republicans are rushing to his defense.
Another politically charged prosecution directed at the former president of the United States.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is even vowing to investigate the Manhattan DA's office, although he is saying that people shouldn't go out to protest.
I don't think people should protest this, no. And I think President Trump, if you talk to him, he doesn't believe that either.
It's not clear what Kevin McCarthy is talking about there.
Over the fucking lie. They don't give a fuck. The nigga literally went on his own
The nigga did
social
say,
media
"Go protest."
and go protest. But he said, if you talk to him, I don't believe he really. What?
I'll give you that.
Weekend, Trump twice, at least twice, called on his supporters to go out and protest what he is calling a political prosecution. Trump is also demanding that his potential rivals for the Republican nomination also denounce the Manhattan District Attorney. Most have, but one who has said nothing about this, at least not yet, is Ron DeSantis. Michael?
All right, John. Hold on, pause. So I'm hearing you've been DeSantis cheerleading.
I like DeSantis.
And you've been Trump cheerleading.
Okay, what you want to know? What you want to know, nigga? What you want to know?
Who you going to vote for?
So if it comes to Trump and DeSantis, I'm going Trump. But if DeSantis wins, I'm voting DeSantis over any Democrat.
So right now you think Trump is a better candidate than
Yeah,
DeSantis?
Trump's a real
Why?
nigga. Trump's a real nigga off the break. I'm going Trump.
Okay.
But if Trump loses, I'll go DeSantis. And I like DeSantis, but
I want
just
to know how you felt about.
But I like Trump. I like Trump over DeSantis because Trump just don't give a fuck, and I don't think DeSantis does either.
I don't think he gives a fuck either.
I respect Trump's not giving a fuck over DeSantis's, but I'll still vote for DeSantis.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think I can lose. Just Trump or DeSantis, I can't lose. But I'm going Trump over DeSantis.
I think DeSantis is going to overtake him.
If he does, that's fine. I like DeSantis. But I'm a Trump nigga, so I got to go Trump. I mean, but if we go DeSantis, I know DeSantis is going to do what he needs to do. DeSantis kicks the real, no matter who wants to hear it. I respect that.
CRT DeSantis. That's how I think about it.
Fuck CRT. I don't fuck with that shit either. But All right. Well, hold on. What the fuck is Michael Strahan talking about?
Kind of confusing. But we're going to bring in Aaron Katersky for more.
What the fuck is Michael Strahan doing here?
No, you on Good Morning America, bro.
Jesus Christ.
On all of this. Now, good morning to you, Aaron. And Aaron, the president, he said the arrest would come Tuesday, but you're learning the investigation isn't even wrapped up yet.
It's not, Michael. In fact, the grand jury today is expected to hear from a new witness, Bob Costello, an attorney and longtime Trump ally who used to represent Michael Cohen. And in a letter to prosecutors obtained by ABC News, Trump's legal team asked for Costello to be allowed to testify, we're told, because they said that Cohen once told Costello that Trump committed no crime. Cohen told us he has been asked to be on standby for possible rebuttal testimony, Michael.
Aaron, give us a reality check. What happens if an indictment does come down? What would that look like?
The game at the last minute.
It's going to be unprecedented, of course, but every white-collar criminal defendant in New York is given the chance to surrender, come in, be photographed, be fingerprinted. Of course, Trump is unlike any other criminal defendant because his surrender would have to be coordinated with the U.S. Secret Service. So far, we're told the DA's office has given the agency no indication or notice that an indictment is coming. However, I'm told the courts and the police are starting to talk about security, especially, Michael, because Trump is talking about protest.
All right, Aaron Katersky, thank you again.
All right.
Talk about why my man Strahan there.
My nigga Trump, dog. Okay, so I want to get into something else though too, cause like niggas want to prosecute Trump.
Let's keep it a buck. He's clearly guilty of the shit.
I don't think he's guilty.
No, he's clearly guilty of the shit.
I don't think he's guilty.
Why not?
For what? It's $100,000. He's
For
a
making
billionaire.
the hush money payment.
It's $100,000. He's a billionaire.
And let's say if he was just a regular citizen, and him giving Stormy Daniels $100,000 to do, I don't think it's a crime at all.
So I'm not even going to read this article about how the same DA that's trying to charge Trump doesn't want to charge niggas committing real crimes. I'm not even going to read it. I'm just going to leave it here.
So are we saying because two people committed crimes, Trump shouldn't be prosecuted? Let's qualify this. Do you think he's innocent?
Trump?
Yes.
I think he's fully innocent.
On what grounds?
All grounds.
All grounds. That's not. So look.
All grounds.
So look. Based upon the facts of the case, and did you realize in the story they say he admitted to doing it in the story?
No, he paid the bitch, yes, but he didn't use campaign funds. The lawyer used his funds and Trump paid the lawyer back.
But at the direction of Trump.
No.
Hey, my friends who are still tuned in, you witnessed the conservative Republican disassociation from the truth.
I'll say
to
this.
what happened on the ground.
He
couldn't look. He had to shrug his shoulders up and shake his head that way to even shake the lie off. It was so.
All right, let's get into the real. So the real is no federal prosecutors picked this case up because it's a nothing burger. The only reason that Bragg is picking this case up is political. He's gonna lose. But he can run on it the next time he runs for DA.
He's not going to lose.
He is going to lose. Trump's not going to get charged with this.
The evidence is, as they would say, Trump tight.
It's actually not.
Literally, they have. The reason they were able to convict Michael Cohen so quickly is because they have the financial records of the transfers. They have the testimony of Stormy Daniels. They have the testimony of Michael Cohen, who now has turned state's witness. So now as we know, in situations where the co-conspirator turns state's witness, there is a 90-something conviction rate because that's your co-conspirator. That's the person you did the crime with. The person you did the crime with has the knowledge of every level of the crime.
I can pretty much.
It's going to turn.
I can
state's
guarantee
witness.
you that Trump's not going to get found guilty of this. Because if he was, Biden's federal prosecutors would have been got him.
No, because the Democrats are weak ass bitches, right?
No, but
they don't. Let me finish.
It's a Democratic state taking up the case.
No, but they're weak ass bitches in terms of if the political atmosphere is not to the point where they can do it without getting so much backlash, they won't do it. Because his predecessor could have done it, but number one, in the U.S., you're not going to prosecute a sitting president. So once he got elected, that case had to be tabled for at least 4 years because you're not going to prosecute a sitting president for something like that, for the stability of the country. 2, the mainstream Republicans have turned against Donald Trump. So he doesn't have that cover that he would have normally had to kind of squash or quell these type of little things. Because he committed crimes all over the motherfucking country. But as a commander-in-chief, you immune from that shit. You the leader. Fuck it. You do what you want to do. But once he started going rogue, he doing his own thing, and the establishment Republicans never really fuck with him. Now he's vulnerable. And now they got a person that they feel like if they knock Trump out of the way, they can peel off enough of his supporters to go to DeSantis and they can keep the train rolling. They didn't have that previous years. It was no other Republican that could take Trump supporters and keep it moving.
If they try to take Trump with their shit and they lose, he's going to win.
He's going to win anyway.
But I'm good with DeSantis though. I'm good with him.
But to
I
me,
like DeSantis because he's less controversial. Yeah. He's to the point.
It's a smart political play because Trump is still leading regardless right now. So if it don't work, all right, it didn't work. But if it do work, he out of there.
You might be right. DeSantis probably has more to win from this than anyone else.
That's why when they asked him to comment, he said, I got more things to worry about in my state of Florida. He played it real GI. I rock with him. I rock with what he did with that one. He's like, I got things to worry about in the state of Florida.
Now, if you notice, DeSantis hasn't said anything about Trump.
If he dies, he dies. That's what he's giving that.
Trump talks a lot of shit about DeSantis, but DeSantis doesn't say shit about Trump.
I love you, Bobby.
He's smart. He's a very smart politician. That's why I feel like, and I don't fuck with none of them, but he's a better candidate than Trump is.
I like Trump because Trump don't give a fuck. I like a nigga like that. That's a nigga. Honestly, I feel like I can trust Trump. I like DeSantis, but I don't think I can trust him because he's still a politician. Trump's like, yo, man.
Trump is wheeling and dealing.
China's coming in, man. We got to do something.
Trump's about the money.
Nah, bro. Think about it, though. China is 5 years ago. Let's cut off TikTok. They said he was racist. Now Biden's like, yo, we got to cut off TikTok. Trump been said that shit.
No, I agree.
It's like everything Trump said years ago, niggas are saying it now. Like, I don't know, man.
So financially, if you are prospering financially, you want a Donald Trump in office because he's ruled by money. Whoever's going to cut the biggest check.
I feel like Donald Trump is ruled by just being a good.
When Saudi was like, oh, we got the big check, he with them. When Russia had the check, he with them. If you got a check, he going to be with you. So if you making money right now, you want a Trump in office.
I feel like Trump's America first.
America's first policy is money.
Nah.
We not?
So you got to think, like when you had your neo-liberal Democrats, your Clintons, all them shit in office, they put China in place to be where they are right now. Trump said fuck China.
Well, he was in a position at that point.
Yeah, but
and then now, so we didn't.
But we called him crazy, but now he's right.
We didn't, but that wasn't because of Trump. But we miscalculated by our trade policies. But that was about greed. So America's problem is always.
But Trump
about
said
greed.
The trade policies to China are fucked up.
They are. It's because, but at the time when we put the trade policies in place, we were exploiting them. But what we didn't realize, China just. What America failed to realize, and this is what I realized was
just
the most.
Just give my man his credit. He called it.
No, I'm not.
That's not fair.
Because he didn't call it.
Yes,
what I realized.
Yes, he did.
The most important thing was we didn't realize China doesn't play by the same rules, even though they have a.
Yeah, well, Trump realized it.
You know, they don't have intellectual property rights. So
Trump
what they
realized
did,
that they weren't playing by those rules.
They copy every successful American company and just copied that motherfucker. They gonna bootleg your shoes. They gonna bootleg your tech. They gonna bootleg everything until they build up the economy. That's what they did. I call China the bootleg economy. They bootleg every successful American and European company and built it up. Now, it's a smart thing to do because if they didn't, we'd have just kept exploiting their labor. So I'm not blaming them for it, but I do recognize what the strategy is. Like every company that was successful in America, it was a Chinese copy of it.
I'll give you that. All right, look, let's go to a quick commercial break and we'll do the final thoughts.
All right.
Because this will be off to 2 hours and 40 minutes in.
Who's having a good time?
Nah, this was a great show, bro.
I'm Michael Jordan. McDonald's restaurants have given me this time to talk to you about something I really care about. Kids. Kids are the reason McDonald's sponsors their Get It Straight program, a national drug awareness effort. Think about this. Many of you using drugs out there now are under 18. Do you realize that at 18, you have lived only 1/4 of your life? When you're using drugs, you're only cheating yourself out of the chance to find out who you really can be. And believe me, if you don't use drugs, you can just about be anything you want to be. Listen, you got at least 3/4 of your life to go. That's 3 more lifetimes to you. So don't blow it. Don't do drugs. If you're doing it, stop it. Get some help. McDonald's wants you to give yourself a chance to find out all the wonderful things you really can be. And so do I. I'm Michael Jordan. McDonald's restaurants have given me this time to talk to you about something we both really care about. Kids. Kids are the reason McDonald's sponsors their Get It Straight program, a national drug awareness effort. Think about this.
Get back, nigga. Final thoughts. Let's go. Let's get it.
Once again, shout out to all of our loyal listeners of Straight Talk No Chase. You know, we don't celebrate anniversaries. It made me think we was talking about Donald Trump. The first show of Straight Talk was the next day after Trump's election. So that's
a great day.
Yeah. That's 2016 to now. How many? That's what?
It's 8 years. 7
years. So, ladies and gentlemen, Straight Talk No Chase has been around for 7 years. That's something to celebrate. It makes me think about every time the presidential
Lord of the
election
Seven
comes
Kingdoms
up.
and protector of the realm. The first of his name. The first of his name. Lord of the Seven Kingdoms and protector of the realm.
Shout out to all the originals. Juice Man Dan is somewhere. Maria is somewhere. Kirk Keys is somewhere.
To be excused.
Who else? Eku. Shout out to Eku.
He's still kicking.
All right. So shout out to all the originals, man. I was a feature on the show and then just end up being on the show some kind of way. But shout out to all the loyal listeners. We appreciate y'all. Facts. We couldn't keep doing this without y'all. Y'all keep putting the battery in our back. Every time we be like, we about to stop, y'all be like, nah, nigga, y'all talking that shit and we want to hear it. All right, so first topic. Shout out to Tony Lewis Sr. and Jr. Tony Sr. came home today. That's why I'm wearing the free Tony Lewis shirt. Out of respect that it was a lot of hard work put into that movement, especially the First Step Act. I want everybody to look up the First Step Act, which was essential to getting him home. It was important that you have to evaluate people's actual impact of crime, the impact on the community, and be able to understand that people can pay their debt to society and they need to be returned home to their family and friends. No one should be serving a life sentence for a non-violent drug offense. I repeat, no one should be serving a life sentence for a non-violent drug offense. And the people who are still behind the wall, especially for weed, which is now legal in America. You're behind bars for crack cocaine, which was put into your community by the government to fight a war between capitalists and communism, which is documented. You shouldn't be behind bars because you're collateral damage. The drug dealers, the drug users, our community are collateral damage of U.S. policy. And we need healing. We need understanding. We need reconciliation based upon those facts. So everybody who was collateral damage of a failed U.S. war policy, a failed foreign policy, a failed domestic policy needs to come home. And needed to come home immediately. Shout out to the Lewis family, man. I'm glad a family is back together. A father has his son. Children have their grandfather. Let's heal our communities. When it comes down to Donald Trump being arrested, lock his ass up. Lock his ass up, lock his ass up. Because you know what it will show? White men like him in America have been able to operate with impunity, right? No consequence. And eventually, if you're going to change something, people need to have some measure of consequence. Do I think Donald Trump will ever see the inside of a jail cell? Hell no. Do I think it's a step forward in showing that you cannot operate in this country with impunity? It'll be a step forward. Do I think it only happened because he's reached a point on the political spectrum where his supporters aren't as strong and he has other challenges that are strong? Yes. If there wasn't a Ron DeSantis, would they be prosecuting Trump? I don't think so. If Trump hadn't been carrying all the establishment Republicans, thumbing his nose in their face, talking shit about him when his candidates, even though his candidate's been losing, if he wasn't doing that, would I think they would prosecute him? No. Because this system does not prosecute the people that keep the system running. Richard Nixon was able to walk out of the White House. George Bush was able to walk out of the White House.
You act like a little.
Barack Obama was able to walk out of the White House. Every president violates the law when they're in office. It's almost like something you gotta do. Now, would I say Trump was on the egregious side? Yeah, I think so. Do I think him paying a bunch of strippers and prostitutes to get straight before the election was wrong? No, it was a smart thing to do. Did it violate campaign finance laws? Yes, it did. So two things can be true. So by rule of law, was he guilty of things? Yes. Does it matter in the grand scheme of things? No, it does not matter at all. I don't give a damn about him or Stormy Daniels and what they were doing. Prostitution should be legal in my eyes, so it's a nothing burger to me.
Come on, man, we supposed to be brothers.
So good luck, Trump. What's the last topic?
Fuck. Okay.
We did.
It was
Tony
Lewis.
Trump,
it was the 17-year-old boy.
Oh, the 17-year-old.
Killed by the USPP.
Yeah. So, shout out to law enforcement in DC, Park Police, MPD. Everybody is doing their job by the book, doing it the right way, trying to keep the community safe and feed your family. Shout out to all y'all. But also, you got to call out when incompetent things are done. There are rules of engagement. There are rules to dealing with suspects. There are rules and procedures in place to keep things like this from happening. And when you go outside of these rules, these type of things happen. I'm not excusing anybody's personal behavior, anybody's accountability. No kid should be out stealing cars. Even if you didn't steal a car, don't be joyriding in the car. Don't be with your friends in a stolen car. These are some of all the things I was guilty of a youth, and I wish I wouldn't have done. And thankfully, it didn't turn out for me like it turned out for this kid. But we also have to put responsibility on the people that are paid by our tax dollars to be better than the average citizen. They're trained to be better than the average citizen. They're trained to de-escalate situations better than the average citizen. So when you show up on a scene and act like an average citizen, you need to be held accountable, because our tax dollar says you need to be different. The training says you need to be different. The training says don't jump into a car with a sleeping suspect. The training says call for backup when you're not sure of the situations. Because park police are not MPD. MPD is not park police. They were not in a park. I repeat, they were not in a park. So park police, stay in your lane. And once you get outside your lane, you need to suffer the consequences, just like that young man had to suffer the consequences of his choices. That's my final thoughts.
Real quick, Trip Simpson back in the building.
The first of his name, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms and Protector of the Realm.
That shit take me out every time. That shit takes me the fuck out every time, bro.
Hold on, one more time.
The first of his name, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms and Protector of the Realm.
So look, shout out to Cosby Digital. Shout out to my man Chaz. Great commentary on the show tonight. I think it was a chill show, man. Like, we yelled a little bit, but like it wasn't like normal. I feel like we were kind of respecting each other today. Sort of, kind of, right?
It was a spirited debate.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get this going. My final thoughts. So first off, I like to say congrats to Tony Lewis Jr. on accomplishing what he set out to do. Tony's a friend of the show, and he's had several appearances here. So ain't no disrespect to him. He know that. We talk real here, regardless of who feelings they hurt. It ain't no disrespect, but we talk here. That's what we do on this show. We don't bullshit. We give our opinion, and the chips fall where they may. So I just want to make it clear, for my final thoughts, that I'm proud of Tony Lewis Jr. for getting his father free. Because if it was my father, I'll be doing the same goddamn thing. I don't give a fuck what the nigga did. I'd be doing it too. So let that be known. Now, black folks, you can't keep playing it both ways and thinking other groups aren't peeping the game. On one hand, we want to blame the invisible white man for the drug epidemic that pretty much tore through most of our inner city communities in the late 80s, early 90s. However, it's the very people that actually carried out the deed who we celebrate. The Big Meeches, the Alpos, Tony Lewis Seniors. No disrespect. Rayful Edmonds. It's all these niggas that we looked up to. Right? These are the very people that we lift up and we give them a pass. These are the people who are willing to go out marching in the streets to free, quote unquote. As if they weren't the ones making millions of dollars a week off of the struggle. Make it make sense. These are the same ones that were dropping bodies left and right over greed in our own communities. But we want them freed. See, this is bigger than Tony Lewis Jr., Tony Lewis Sr. This ain't even about him. Because I'm glad he's free. He did 30 years. Fuck it. Let the nigga out. I'm pretty sure he learned his lesson. But it's bigger than that. See, we are an ass backwards people. As long as we keep blaming white folks for the shit we willingly do to ourselves, we're not gonna get anywhere. As long as we continue not to take any accountability for the role that we have in fucking up our own communities, we won't get anywhere. For God's sake, by 2053, most economists say the black community's median black wealth will be zero. Zero. But what are we doing? We out here marching for the right to blast music and rename streets after people. But I digress. When it comes to the 17-year-old who was shot by the United States Park Police, I mean, it's unfortunate. But y'all niggas, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, man. But y'all little niggas, man, y'all don't leave the police a choice. Fuck, my battery just went dead.
You was talking that bullshit, it cut you off.
It's all good. I'm gonna keep going.
The universe is spoken. Good.